This week on the podcast, we are venturing into our final episode of our Alien franchise journey with 2017's Alien Covenant. Welcome back to the Dissect That Film podcast, where we dissect your favorite films and film franchises. Today is episode 99, and what better way to celebrate episode 99, one away from 100, is to end our first franchise of the year, which means we're talking about 2017's Alien Covenant. I am your host, Brett Parker. Joining me, as always, my wonderful co-host, Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming. Hey, woke up.
Hello.
People were wondering what was happening. Well, at least the people watching it, yeah.
He's dead.
Now it's napping.
But yeah.
Hello.
How are you? Are you guys happy or sad that this is over? Or going to be over? Over the next hour and a half to 2 hours.
You want to go first?
He hasn't gotten there yet.
Well, no, you said if you were happy.
I just asked the question.
I figured you were like, fuck this. And
He's not doing the things he usually does.
You're
Angela.
not supposed to end a series. Well,
whatever. We'll get to that,
it.
Angela, because there's a lot to talk about with Alien Covenant and everything that happened behind the scenes and all that fun stuff.
Just not supposed to end it.
The way that they ended it. Yep, I agree.
Well, they had every intention of not ending it.
Oh, absolutely.
But they dropped the ball on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody dropped somebody's balls.
So, was this your guys' first time seeing this one?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. This was my second time. I think I saw it when it first came out on digital back in 2017, because I was like, well, it's an Alien movie. I got to see, as somebody who was a fan of Prometheus, I had to check it out, see what it was. And I don't remember much about it. So yeah, let's talk about our thoughts on the movie before we get into all the extra stuff we do. So Angela, since you seem so opinionated on how they ended this movie, which we'll get to later, what were your thoughts on this movie? Especially going into it as a first timer.
As much as I liked Prometheus, I was very disappointed in this one. Would you get away from me?
I'm trying to absorb your input. What?
I'm sorry. I was clicking the button to go to.
You sound like you had something real saucy to lay on me. So carry on.
Oh, to lay on you? I mean, I can punch you. I, for the most part, did not like this.
Okay.
They could have stopped before this. This definitely did not need to be a thing. I didn't like the androids in this.
Okay.
Well, one I did, one I did not.
Yeah, you can talk about it. You can talk about who you didn't like.
I did not like David.
Which I can agree on.
I did like, Walter? Because I kept wanting to call him Walter.
Walt, yeah. Yes, like the pistol manufacturer. Oh, yeah.
They could have left the one at the end out. You know who?
Yeah.
Could have left him out. Because I liked him even less.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it after we talk about our thoughts. But yeah, there was the way that this movie ends, of course, on a major cliffhanger. And we get no resolution. So...
I didn't like most of the crew.
I think when it comes to the crew, I think it's one of those things where it's like you just didn't get enough of them. Like I feel like you didn't.
Are you serious?
No. Can you wait a second?
Go ahead, please.
Not you don't get enough of them. I feel like you don't get to know them as much. Like you don't get to know. Like it's like things happen immediately, and then it's like you have to. It's like a rush. Like you're like literally like you have to pick up little things here and there, but it's going so fast They're like, so when someone dies, you're like, am I supposed to care? Like, like, oh my God, what is happening?
I felt the look. I didn't even see
Dan's reaction. I was like, I did something wrong.
No, it's fine. I'm just like, what?
We didn't get enough of that, Dan. I think more people, less Xenomorphs, and way more David.
I kind of feel though if they would have cut the crew in maybe half.
Yes.
And focused more on them.
Right. I agree with that.
Like learning more about them. I think it would have made it better.
Right.
But I'm just like, who's that again? Who?
Yeah, I did the same thing. Like, who's with who? Because of course, this movie, the entire crew are couples. So you're like, whose wife is that? Who's with that one? Like, it's always like there was 2 characters way later in the movie who get killed off. You're like, I didn't even know they were a couple. Like, I just don't like it. Just never like felt that way to me until their death happened. You're like, oh, okay. Well, either they weren't a couple before and they're just like getting it on, or they were the whole time, and it just didn't really, it didn't give me the notion that was a thing.
One thing I did like though was some of the designs for the aliens that they brought in. Some. I'm sorry, the skin face ones are.
The neomorph.
They're just nightmare fuel.
Awesome, dude.
Or the protomorph, as some people call them too.
It looked like an organ, like the skin off. You see the organs of human beings that just lay there.
Yeah.
Like not kidneys, but I'm like, ooh, it just looks like an organ that has no blood in it.
The pasty white. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Anyways, that's mine. They should have left it. Just okay.
Okay. So I don't want to, fuel inject. Anyway, I watching. I'm just gonna start off as watching this movie. I understand why people were pissed off at this movie. Like, I completely sympathize with like the huge number of people who didn't like this movie. I will reflect her opinion. I did not care for a majority of our cast. And before somebody says like, "Oh, you liked the other movies because you had nostalgia," no, I did not watch the original Alien until I was in my 20s, and way more likable group. The same with the second one. I like characters more from the third, so and so forth. Maybe not so much 4, but anyway. But there were some characters I liked, but I just didn't care about these characters. I didn't give a lick about a damn one of them. There is shit that happens at the very beginning of the movie, but where I disagree is that happens, and then we have a long span of these characters that I don't give a fuck about, and then we get to where we're supposed to get, and then action happens. It's like 45 minutes of just these people after the initial thing just doing their thing, and I'm just like it's fine, but it's just they're not interesting to me as characters. I mean, I guess as far as acting chops, I thought Catherine Watterson, who played Daniels, I thought she did a good job, like in her like emotional scenes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Not too dissimilar from, I can't think of her name, who played Shaw in the previous film.
Numi Rapunz.
Thank you, but I like her way better. I just didn't care for her character. Like, I just don't care about it, except for, I guess, Tennessee was all right.
Yeah, it was Danny McBride.
Yeah, that, and then I initially liked David because I liked David from the last film with his ambiguity and his whatever, I can't, the words escaping me, but his motivations and what he's trying to do. And then I like Walter. I like Walter a lot, but I don't know. Like, I said, there could have been half the fucking crew. And if you want a body account, just have like faceless, nameless people just get fucking offed. And I would not give 2 shits. Because I liked some of the cast members from Prometheus. Like, way more than these
smaller
guys.
crew, too. Even the smaller crews make for more connection. And that's why Alien worked. And that's why Aliens worked. Was because the crews weren't as big. And so you were able to connect with these characters. So then when they do die, you feel something. Where a lot of these characters here, like we were stating before, like they're all couples. But like if somebody dies, half the time you're just like, who was that? Who was that? Who was with who?
But even then, even in Aliens, you have a whole battalion of people
Mhm.
but it only focuses on key members of them.
Yeah.
But like it's just. But anyway, I didn't care about that. I really didn't care about like the big fucking plot point in this movie, which we'll talk about at the end. That really kind of chapped my ass just toward the end of the film. I like some of the connections. I like, there was some interesting cinematography. I don't think some of the cinematography was as good as it was in Prometheus, as it was in this film. There were some good shots, but I don't think it was as good. So there was some good like kills, like people dying and shit. Like there were some pretty fucking sweet ones. I liked. I think there could have been one alien menace in this entire movie, and it wasn't the fucking second one. And I would have been completely happy with it. Nothing wrong with the second one per se, but I liked the Xenomorphs way better. I just enjoyed them as a concept. And I'll pick apart his fucking ideas later. David's shit later when we get there.
When we get to that, there's going to be a lot to talk about once we get to David's motivations and what he does in this movie.
The movie felt a bit different. A bit more than Prometheus. I guess it's trying to do its own thing, which is fine. It didn't not feel like an alien movie, but I just didn't like it that much. Like there's only bits and pieces that I enjoyed, but like as a whole, I don't think I'd ever rewatch this movie. I just didn't care that much for it.
Yeah.
But that's it.
I mean, I got to agree with a lot of you guys' points. I'm like right in the middle here. I think I ended up giving it like a 2.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I don't know if I like this movie or if I don't like this movie. It's just there are a lot of elements to this movie that are good, and then there are some that I'm just like, what are we doing, Ridley Scott? Like, I know Ridley Scott's initial plan for this was supposed to be a trilogy, so this was supposed to be the middle piece. That's why we got the ending we got, because there was supposed to be something else, but then Disney ended up buying 20th Century Fox, and the box office wasn't as good for this movie compared to Prometheus. And I really like everything to do with the proto-morph or the neomorph, as it's properly called. I think the xenomorph, I think, is just in this movie because people complain there was no xenomorphs in Prometheus, because Ridley Scott's plan behind this movie wasn't what we got. But people complained about Prometheus and how there wasn't enough xenomorphs and there wasn't enough alien. Like they wanted more alien because
it's dumb.
So Ridley Scott's like, well, I guess because his original idea was people are sick of seeing the xenomorphs and sick of seeing these elements because they've seen them in so many films that I want to change it up. I want to focus. He wanted to focus strictly on the engineers. He wanted to focus on why the engineers did what they did and all that stuff. But people were like, no, we don't want that. We want more xenomorphs. And so he's like, all right, well, I got to appease the fans. And so we got Alien Covenant.
I wish he would have just stuck to his fucking guns.
That's the problem, man. People bitch and bitch and bitch. And then they get they get this. This is what you wanted. But they're like, that's not what I wanted, because not. I'm like, what the fuck you want then, people? I'm defending Ridley Scott because, to be honest, I don't think it's fully his fault that we got Alien Covenant. I don't think will blame just fandoms, man. Fandoms are just, they can be so toxic and they just whine and cry about shit. And then we end up getting something like this. This isn't the worst movie I've ever seen, of course. I don't think this is the worst Alien movie. I mean, we just covered the two Alien versus Predator movies. Those movies are I would rather watch Alien Covenant than watch either of those Alien versus Predator movies again, because at least this has some cohesion to it. Maybe there are things that kind of go off the rails, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But, going through it, I ended the movie kind of just like, it just didn't feel much of anything. I didn't feel like, man, you know what? That was good. And it wasn't, and I didn't really watch it going, oh man, that fucking sucked. I was just kind of in the middle. I was just like, here it is. There's Angela's quote. That was a movie. Like, that was it. It's not a movie I don't think I'm going to go back to anytime soon. Maybe down the road if they do, because I know there is a new Alien movie in the works I think we talked about it last week in our Prometheus episode by Fede Alvarez, who did the Evil Dead remake in 2013. He's behind it, but there was still talks about possibly letting Ridley Scott finish his trilogy, which to be honest, even though I wasn't a huge fan of this movie, I want to see it. I hate that when they just take things away. They're like, no, we can't do it. It's like, you gotta finish it, man. With the way this ended, even if it wasn't great, you still gotta give it. You just gotta end it. We got those. We got a great Halloween 2018, and then I had to endure 2 garbage ass Halloweens after. So why can't we at least endure one last Alien movie from Ridley Scott and then just say, hey, man, it's been real, and let him go, do House of Gucci 3 and whatever fucking Gladiator. Oh my God. Okay, we're not going to talk about that. Fucking Gladiator.
Even what he needs to do is, like you said, let him do the movie, let him do the third one, but do it. Make it work with the shit you did in the second one. Do it the way you fucking want to do it. Yeah. Just do the movie the way you want to do it. Fuck what us fans say, because we don't know what we want to have.
But the problem is he's got to go by what Covenant did, because he already made it. You can't now go back and be like, because that's the thing. And we'll go back to Halloween. I feel like, and fucking Danny McBride, you're at fault for this because you helped write those fucking movies. You had such a solid thing where they're like, all right, we're taking, we're continuing, Halloween from 1978. Everything else is erased. And then it was like, Halloween Kills, I don't think is the worst one. It's still not great, but it just kind of was like, we got to, as fans, I think we had a slight people fan like, there's not enough kills, doing all that stuff. So here you go. Here's all these kills and some stupid ass comedy because we're comedy writers. And then Halloween Ends was, oh, hey, the idea I think we've probably had this idea for a while. We're now going to put it at the end of our trilogy. And it's like, oh no. So I think if Ridley Scott were to finish this trilogy, you just got to go write something to give us a solid ending to your Alien trilogy, which even if it's good or bad, I still want to see it just so I have the, like, I hate being left with those blue balls of like, what could have happened?
I know, dude.
You can't give us this ending and then just be like, nah.
Oh, by the way, there was some shit that was super fucking telegraphed in this movie from like a mile. Like, dude, like you would just knew it was coming since the beginning. Like, you're like, oh shit, that's gonna happen in this movie. But anyway.
Oh yeah. Right. So I mean, David.
Yeah.
I didn't like what they did with David. I think they like, I know what his motivations were in Prometheus, but I think they turned him up to 11 in this movie.
Yep. Yeah.
The fact that Shaw goes from like, she's in the ending of Prometheus and you're like, yes, I can't wait to see what these two characters end up doing and blah, blah, blah in this next movie. And then she's dead. She's fucking dead in the dumbest possible way. And the only way you can actually see her in this movie is if you watch the fucking prologues that Ridley Scott directed after the Blu-ray came out of all like extra shit that wasn't in the theatrical cuts. Stupid.
I'm gonna go back and watch those just to see the prologues.
I mean, I'll go through them. I won't go into like specific details with them, but I'll tell you like what each one is about. But I mean, overall, I wasn't super pissed off watching this movie. I don't think it's the worst thing ever. I don't even think it's the worst Alien movie ever. I think, to be honest, man. I mean, we'll talk about rankings since we forgot to rank Prometheus last week. We'll get to that. We'll rank Prometheus and Covenant at the end of the show. So we'll have to let me put that in my notes since I seem to always fucking forget. So comments and rankings. Titties. Well, because I always forget to record our comments and I got to re-record them. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Alien Covenant. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. It was right down the middle of it was a movie.
Remind me, I have predictions for the next Alien movie.
Okay. So let's go through some of the some slight behind the scenes. We're not going to go too deep. So this was directed by Ridley Scott, of course, once again. Directed by John Logan and Dante Harper. John Logan, he wrote Martin Scorsese's The Avatar, The Aviator.
Hell yes!
Martin Scorsese's out here making Avatar movies. He also wrote Sweeney Todd, Demer Barber Street, and he wrote Skyfall and Spectre, two James Bond movies. Good. So those are good. David Giler and Walter Hill, they're back. They're just cashing in those alien checks, man. They ain't doing shit. They're just like, give us the money.
It's like John Carpenter with Halloween.
Oh,
like we were
but you
just
know what?
talking
At
about.
least he admits to it. At least he's just like, keep making them, and I'll keep putting my hand out. Good for you, John. They fucked you so hard in the 80s. The cinematography was done by Darius Wolski, who did a lot of cinematography for... Oh, we talked about him. He did a lot of the Pirates of the Caribbean. Oh, he was the cinematographer for Prometheus. No shit, we talked about him before.
Yeah.
My brain doesn't work right.
What shit to remember, dude.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot. The music was done by Jed Kurzel, who was different from the guy who did it last time. And he has done stuff. He did The Babadook from 2014, Macbeth from 2015, which had Michael Fassbender in it, Assassin's Creed, which also had Michael Fassbender in it, which I would love to do that movie at some point because that is a very disliked movie. And his latest movie he's going to be doing score for is The Pope's Exorcist, starring Gladiator's Russell Crowe.
There's a lot of connections going on here.
Right? So this movie was released on it was released 3 different times. May 4th, 2017 at Odeon Leicester Square, which I guess is in the UK. It was released on May 12th in the UK and then May 19th, 2017 in the US. It ran at just over 2 hours, which I can appreciate, especially for a movie like this. 2 hours, good time. The budget was around $97 to $111 million, and it made $240.9 million, which was almost $200 million less than what Prometheus made in 2012. So, big reason why, one of the reasons why we didn't get the ending to Ridley Scott's new trilogy. Also, the fact that Disney bought out 20th Century Fox, so a lot of the projects that they had going were like, yeah, we're not doing those anymore. But like I said before, they are making a new Alien movie. So we will be getting more. And I really hope the way that Fede Alvarez did the 2013 Evil Dead movie was he took Evil Dead. He kind of took the comedy out of it, but he made it such a violent horror movie. And it's been praised by a lot of people. I still have not seen the 2013 Evil Dead, but I'm going to have to because Evil Dead Rise comes out in a couple months. So I gotta, even though I know I think I read they're not connected, but still got to check it out.
Well, the original Evil Dead wasn't funny anyway. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like it was just fucking harsh, man. That's a harsh ass movie even today.
Yeah. I mean, they changed it up. It wasn't, they got rid of Ash and did all that stuff. So I hope, with this, whatever they're planning on doing, if it's a continuation of the current lore or if it's a remake of the original Alien, which I hope they don't do because we don't need a remake to the original Alien because that movie is perfect as is. Yeah, I'm excited for more Alien because they've been talking about it for a while. Like this movie came out in 2017, so we haven't seen anything Alien wise in 6 years now. So I think it's time. We were supposed to get there was a TV show in the works, I guess, at FX that fell through, and so now this is the new thing. So let's hope it happens and they can get it right. They can give us a good Alien film because I feel like we haven't really got a great Alien film since 1986. So that's just my opinion.
Fair.
That's just my opinion on it. So I really enjoy the fact that they use the original Alien theme in this movie. I don't know if you heard it in the beginning, or the opening is, you get the old school Alien logo, the way that they did it in 1979. A lot of homages to to Alien in this movie. Just a lot of things. There's just little things you kind of have to really pay attention to see, and then there's some just outright blatant stuff. Like, hey, remember the theme to Prometheus? Yeah, we're gonna play it 75 times in the third act of the movie, so you remember that movie and you remember that theme and you remember that character was part of that movie. So there you go.
Wink.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's just there's a lot of just things I was reading about this movie where I was just so much of just Ridley Scott being like, I want to do this. Nah, the fans don't want that. so I got to change it. Hey, I watched a lot of behind the scenes on both Prometheus and Covenant, and like he is so passionate about this franchise. He loves this franchise so much. Like he even talks about like, even though there is controversy around like Ridley Scott and Dan O'Bannon and kind of like who is like the true owner of the Alien franchise. Ridley Scott put a lot of passion into every single piece that he had ever made, even though the fans didn't like it. I think that's the problem when you make a movie so far ahead in a franchise. Like you started it off, so you feel I feel like I can do no wrong. I can do whatever I want, right? I helped create this, so I feel everybody's going to enjoy what I make later on. And this is not how it works. Like when you're, 6 movies deep into a franchise or however many movies it was, people don't want change. People just want more of the same.
Coming from a long running franchise like Godzilla and stuff like that, I like when they do shit different. You got to expect, like, people, I understand there's nostalgia. People like, just let them do what the fuck they want. You're either going to like it or you're going to hate it. Who gives you shit? Just let them pump it out. You're still getting more content for what you love. Of course you want the best, but you're not always going to get the best.
Right.
It's just the way the world works, dude. Don't let your fucking narrow-mindedness affect their vision of how they want to make a movie. Just let them make the fucking movie.
Yeah.
I'm talking about myself.
I mean, I think that's the biggest issue is that when he was making Prometheus, I think it was just one of those things where the news outlets and everybody was like, Ridley Scott's back in the Alien franchise. And I think he was going, I didn't even say if this was going to be an Alien movie. Like, why are you saying this when that wasn't the plan? And then, he does his, all of his original work goes into Prometheus. Like that was strictly from him. Like that wasn't studio meddling or anything. He just did it. And as much as I like it, a lot of people don't like it. Like a lot of people don't like it. And we'll even say, when we'll talk about it later, when, we talk about comments that people left, a lot of people actually like this movie more than Prometheus. And I can't agree with that. I think Prometheus is a better made movie. I think Ridley Scott's ideas and the lore behind it make more sense, where this is kind of just like, oh yeah, here we go. Here's all this just dumped on you. And you're just like, oh man.
Watch the same movie then?
What?
Did we watch the same movie then? If they like that better?
I don't know. Apparently, we're the only people who have seen Alien vs. Predator Requiem. So, I mean, fuck. What do I know about anything?
Oh, you two are literally the only people who ever saw that movie.
It has to be. We have to be.
That's how you're gonna buy. That's what's gonna drive up sales for that $3.99 Blu-ray. There's people you're gonna talk up that $3.99 Blu-ray, and everyone's like, "Well, I guess the only way I'm able to see this movie is I buy that $3.99 Blu-ray."
It's gonna go like it's just the price is just gonna skyrocket. The only viewable print of Alien vs. Predator
$500. Thanks to Dissect That Film. We better get a cut. Whoever is in charge of the distribution of that, because you're welcome.
Absolutely.
Oh man, yeah. Another thing I want to talk about is the fact that there's just we've talked about it throughout this franchise. Like the Xenomorphs can't see, right? Like they're supposed to be blind, or at least that's the idea.
No.
Nope, they're not. They're not.
But I don't think they've ever been blind.
No, because in Alien 3, you see alien vision.
Yeah, but it's just the way their heads.
Yeah, I know. It's just weird. I don't know. It was a lot of things too. Like it wasn't just me. It was a lot of people on the internet who've been like,
I'm confused at how it can see though. Like,
have you ever seen a barrelfish?
Nope.
Go look up a barrelfish. It literally has part of its head. Literally, it has eyes.
We'll put a picture of a barrelfish here so you guys can see.
Pointing straight up into a partially It looks through its head to see. It has a partially.
So pretty much the Xenomorph has a translucent head for it to see out of.
Yes, exactly.
All right, I need to find a picture of, like, I want to see the Xenomorph's eyes. I want to know what they look like.
I think maybe it's barrel eye fish. That's the thing.
This?
Yeah, that's the eyes on top.
But you can see its eyes.
That's not its eyes in the front, on top, inside of its head.
That's its brain.
No, it's not. Those are its eyes.
That's its brain.
Looking up through its fucking head. Barrel eye fish.
Barrel eye fish. All right.
That's its brain.
It's not its brain. It doesn't have like two brains. It's not like boop, boop, boop. It's not like Simon.
That's eyes and that's brain.
No, it's just.
Boop. But you can see it. In these, you see
It's dark.
nothing.
It's partially opaque. In the original Alien design, the head was partially like opaque. And you don't know how this shit works. You ain't no xenomorph. You ever see, hey, we can see through sunglasses.
Can't get over the voice of Mother. She was on Bob the Builder.
Was she? Was she Bob the Builder's mother?
No.
Damn.
She was on 191 episodes of Bob the Builder.
Tits.
Nice.
And she was in Subnautica.
No, she wasn't Subnautica. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry. I'm derailing this.
Nope, that's completely fine. I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. We'll talk about it a little bit later. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, there's not a lot I really want to get into. I'm going to try, like, in future episodes. I think I'm going to, like, give less and less behind the scenes stuff at the beginning of the episodes, just because our plot breakdowns, usually we add shit to it. So we'll give you your normal box office cast, all that shit we do in the beginning. But I think the behind the scenes, because the one problem is I don't do enough research on the behind the scenes stuff, because I just feel like I never have time to, or I just procrastinate it. And then right before we're about to record, I'm like, fuck, I got to look up on all these sites and see if I can get some stuff. And sometimes I just don't happen. If I think of anything.
Solid. There's no eyeballs.
But that's not a xenomorph, though.
It's the neomorph.
But that's not the same thing.
But
We're talking about xenomorphs.
You think any of them can see?
They got that shit figured out. Hey,
we're gonna see it. We're gonna see it later. So
there's no.
Maybe they operate on near field vibration.
All right. So our cast of this movie, we have Michael Fassbender, who plays two roles. He plays David and Walter. We have Catherine Waterston, who plays Daniels. She was in the first Fantastic Beasts movie. That's how I know her. The wig she actually wears in this movie was actually one she was given to from that movie. It was the same wig that Ezra Miller wears in the movie, which we don't need to talk about them any more than we need to. We got Billy Crudup, who plays Orem. I know him as Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen.
She told me, she's like, it's Blue Dick. I was like,
yeah.
Oh.
I mean, you only see him. Mostly you're seeing him as a big blue man. So, and he was also in a show I watched recently called The Morning Show with Jennifer Aniston. We have Danny McBride. Yeah, he's in a lot of stuff. He's a pretty big actor. We got Danny McBride as Tennessee. We have Damian Bashir as Lope. We have Carmen Jago. I definitely didn't pronounce her last name correctly. Jussie Smollett as Rix. Callie Hernandez as Upworth. Some of these names are hilarious. Amy Shemetz as Ferris. Nathaniel Dean as Hallett. Alexander England as Encore. Benjamin Rigby as Ledward. Tess Haubrick as Rosenthal. We also had Javier Botet was the Xenomorph, which he was actually uncredited. Yeah, there was two. There was Goran D. Clote as another Xenomorph, or as the same Xenomorph, I guess, because they did motion capture for the Xenomorph in this movie. And then Andrew Crawford, who played the Neomorph. But I want to talk about Javier Botet because he, of course, he's done a lot of creepy roles in his life. He played the Crooked Man in The Conjuring 2. He was in It. He played the, if you've seen It from 2017, he played the leper.
I don't know. I've never seen that one. She may have.
He was in the latest Mummy movie with Tom Cruise. He played Set. He was also in Wreck, which was a creepy found footage movie from like the early 2000s. It was a Spanish movie. It was the Spanish one that they then turned into Quarantine, which was the American one.
That's right. Who did he play in that?
He was the creepy. He always plays the creepy characters, like the zombie.
He was the weird fucker in the attic.
Yeah.
Oh,
he was in Mama, which had Jessica Chastain. He played Mama.
He was one of the pirates in Pirates of the Caribbean. He was the one with the broom. Okay. The one that kept trying to sweep. Sweeping nothing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but if they need like a tall, lanky guy to play a scary character, he's usually the one they call. So.
Yeah.
He was Anubis in Gods of Egypt. That's
a Academy Award winning movie.
Just trying to
the other guy was Goran.
Okay.
Clout or whatever.
Oh, okay.
that's about it, I think, for our extra stuff here. So why don't we jump into this plot? Because there's a lot to talk
Please.
about in this movie. So let's get to it. So this movie opens with a young Guy Pearce playing Peter Wayland talking to a newly born David, who is our android from Prometheus. Pretty much tells him, you get the Star Wars quote. He's like, "I am your father." And he's like, if you made me, then who made you? And he's like, well, that's a very important question that we're gonna have an entire movie about that. It's not gonna end well for me either.
No. I actually have relatively competent things to say about this beginning scene.
I like the beginning.
Like outside of the weird daddy abusive issue thing, there's
Right.
subtext that's going on here.
So the biggest reason behind this opening is the fact that you're gonna figure out that David is the villain of this movie. And it's kind of of course, this is like when he's first born. So when he's first created, this is him interacting with his creator. And it's kind of his first impression of humanity, because he knows who he is. He knows he is not human. So he is seeing how this human kind of treats other people and how he treats him, because he immediately is like making him do things for him. So it's kind of putting it early into David's head, like, these fucking people, these humans suck.
Yep.
Also,
I thought it was. Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to mention he is named David after Michelangelo's David, because the statue is in that room. Okay, you're good.
I was gonna say during this whole interaction, because they're talking about creators and life and stuff, and it's obviously very uncomfortable for Mr. Wayland, which they of course point out in Prometheus about his issue with his own mortality and stuff. It's been a huge problem for him his whole life. So, but it's cool how they brought that back up. This is yeah.
I hate how sterile the room
I know.
feels.
Why is everything gotta be so white? White's
White
the
and
worst.
open, and nothing in there.
Yeah, there's nothing in this room but this table and these two people.
Yeah, and the piano that he plays.
And the piano.
Yeah.
But why does it? I feel like it feels like a hospital room, and it's just
why is it always white?
Uncomfortable.
It looks terrible, dude. Nobody actually lived there.
It's like one of those things that you can smell the room.
Yeah.
Because
smells like hand sanitizer.
Yes.
What is that? Hand sanitizer in an ozone machine?
No, it smells like ethyl alcohol.
Ethyl?
Yes.
I hate that smell.
I love this. No, wait.
I hate that
What's the
smell.
stuff I like? What's the stuff that you normally
You
buy?
like ethyl alcohol.
It's not nice. It's ethyl. I love the smell of ethyl alcohol. It's sweet.
And I hate it.
But I don't like. So, fun fact. This is for all of our viewers. Most you will never ever use this because we're talking about it. If you have an ozone machine running in a room, don't stay in that room. Ozone is bad for your lungs. There's my tidbit of factive information today.
Okay.
Ozone is very bad for you.
Like the ozone layer, or what the fuck is
an ozone machine? Ozone machine. You have a bad smell, and they'll put those little box machines. They'll crank up, and they have that very unique smell to them. Well, it's bad for the lining of your lungs.
No,
it'll kill you.
That's why
after
I feel like shit all the time. I'm just kidding. I don't have one.
Dude, I knew someone. I swear to God, they had one in their basement because their house always smelled like it. And I could never put two and two together until I got older and figured out it was ozone. It's not good for you under long periods of being exposed to it.
Interesting.
Yeah, fun fact.
You would know.
Fun.
So David is tasked to play the piano. I can't remember the piece he plays.
The gods something into Valhalla or something.
It's like the entry into Valhalla. I can't remember the who scored that, but it comes back to play later down the road and throughout the movie. But
this is no, go ahead. I got a comment to this.
Go ahead.
This whole thing, he's like play. He's like dealer's choice, and he's like blah 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 blah. Starts playing, and he's like, the song blah blah blah. It's this. Very underwhelming without the orchestra, and that was David's first experience to posting a video on YouTube.
Yeah, somebody's just downvoting it.
Downvote, fuck this.
It worked so hard.
It's not as good as I want it to be.
Oh man!
Even though I had no proper expectation to begin with, it's shit.
I didn't even get a chance. But then David says something that kind of offends him to the point where he just then turns him into the servant that he you know, because he's so pissed off. He's just like, bring me the tea. He's like, okay,
Yes,
you're
Daddy.
a piece of shit. So we then jump to our old school title card, which I appreciated. I like the old,
Yeah,
like
I
the
like that.
alien coming together
was
in his
cool.
covenant. And we get the 1979 theme, which was good.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to see the Covenant for the first time. It is 2104, so it is 11 years after the events of
11,
Prometheus.
yeah.
Me.
And
It's 2014. Oh, I read that wrong.
and the Covenant is a colonist transport ship. So it tells you that there is like 2,000 plus people on board.
And then like a slew of a couple thousand second generation embryos and
Yep.
stuff like that.
Yep. So yeah, so they're pretty much, they were sent to they already had this planet that was already predetermined, and it was supposed to take like 7, or at that moment that we see it, it's like 7 more years to reach this planet. So Mother's back, which is another callback to Alien, and we have a new android named Walter, who is just David. It's Michael Fassbender. Hey everybody, it's Michael Fassbender with an American accent.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I like Walter. Walter's very friendly sounding to me.
Yes, and he's a lot like less creepy. Like
It's cool as
like
fuck.
David was always creepy throughout Prometheus.
Yeah.
There was not one point where you're just like, he seems like a good guy. No, he was creepy as fuck. The nice thing about the Covenant, and I can appreciate about the crew, is that they're all nice to Walter. No one's a douche to him. Like immediately, like there was that one, the douchebag boyfriend there, or husband
All the way.
yeah, who was not very nice to David. But David was also he was predetermined on like what he was going to do throughout that movie. Walter's a nice guy. So he gets to activate this really cool sail that's in the front of the ship, which I'm guessing, is it absorb sunlight or something to help power the ship or something? Probably like charging it up. But unfortunately, they hit like a power surge. Like they hit this one patch of space that's is bad news. And so it partially damages the sail. It washes, it wakes people up from their cryo sleep. And
Walter has to, because he's like, the computer tells him like, get up front because this is bad, and like all the shit starts going. He's like, emergency, wake the crew. Like tells Mother to do it.
Yeah, because it starts knocking the people that are hanging.
Yeah, the stasis pods,
knocking them down.
Yeah.
You can see him. That's what you kind of see him have some sort of emotion during this, because he's just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get substantial damage to the ship, and everybody's trying to wake up. They're trying to wake up Danny, who is our main character, and she takes a while to wake up. But then we're like, oh, we gotta, she finally wakes up, and they finally get to the captain's pod, and they can't wake up the captain. And smoke starts filling up the captain's pod, and then it just sets on fire as she watches her husband just burn to death. And then you find out it's James Franco, and you're like, James Franco?
Was it?
It was James Franco. He was her husband. He was in this movie for 0.6 seconds.
He was like, all right, Danny, just give me a real quick role in this. Like, you're in the talking with the director, just slot me in somewhere.
Did they pay him with a cup of coffee?
God, I would have.
What's his face in
Fuck, I got a feeling I should know what you're talking about.
Brad Pitt in
this is Deadpool?
Deadpool,
yes. 2, where's the Invisible Man.
Yeah.
So
he got paid with a cup of coffee.
I wouldn't even take, like, if you're like, dude, listen, I just need you to appear in a scene where you just literally lay there and burn to death. And that's it. We can't, like, you don't have to pay me nothing. I'll just let it happen.
So there are deleted scenes with more from James Franco. Like, it wasn't just this scene and then like the video she watches.
Yeah, I forgot about the damn video.
Yeah, she watches that video, but there's also scenes that they didn't include. Like, there was one where he meets with they're all awake. It's right before they go into cryo sleep for the initial journey, and they all they're gonna have a party, and he doesn't feel well, so he's like talking with Tennessee and one of the other guys, and then he goes to bed. And then there was one where it was like before they even are on the Prometheus, they're like on Earth. They live together, and they're talking about like building their log cabin, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So
I'm glad they didn't include that, because there was enough shit about people talking about stuff in the beginning for me, for my taste.
So yeah, this all just bad shit happens, and everybody's sad. And now Billy,
what a horrible way to go out.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
So Billy Crudup's character Orm is now in charge, and I don't like him at all in this movie. He immediately he becomes the captain, but he's super strict and he's super on point. And it's just bro, do you not realize his wife is trying to be listen, she just lost her husband who was the captain. You wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for him. I get you guys didn't like each other, but you need to stop being such a bitch. And he's fine.
He has the biggest stick in his ass.
Oh my God, it's the worst.
So this character for me was the opposite, because I actually like how he plays out later, but I did not like his character. I was this dude's a fucking dickhead.
No, I hate him throughout this entire thing because he's the reason why this whole movie happens.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so they want to have a memorial and stuff for the captain and everybody, and they want to have a memorial for the captain and all the people that died, because there was quite a few people that actually died during the accident. And he's like, no, we gotta fix the ship and we gotta keep moving. And well, you fucking blow. I don't like you.
If an emergency, I wouldn't see the big deal about waiting and
Should still take some time to respect them.
Yeah. So. But there's nothing causing them to not be able to breathe or eat or things that you need to do.
There's nothing. I understand it's priority. Like I said, just give them literally, even if you don't give them a whole lot, give them 15, 20 minutes. They end up obviously.
Yeah. It's not like they were having a party for him. They literally just wanted to send him off. Yeah. Send him off like they send off Kane in Alien. Yep. So we then get we get foreshadowing, which is Danny and Walter going out to where all the big vehicles are, where we get our final fight in this movie. So I was foreshadowing. Yep. And this is where Danny tells Walter about the log cabin that they were planning on making wherever they were, on the planet they were planning on going. So they do their memorial service kind of behind the captain's back. They do a Kane-like goodbyes wrapped up in sheets. They send them to shoot him off into space. They have a kind of a, hey, cheers type thing. And he's like, they disobeyed direct orders. And the wife's like, oh, I hate you. Why did I marry you? You suck.
You bitch. Shut the fuck up and eat a Snickers
Seriously.
or something.
Come on, bro.
You're hungry.
Golly.
I think he'd still be a dick if he wasn't hungry.
Well, true.
So Tennessee and I think it was Lope go out and do a spacewalk to fix the sail.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's Lope.
And then he
Lope. Yes. Yeah, it was.
And he gets weird interference on his helmet, which is a song. He hears somebody singing. They can't figure out what it is. So they play back the transmission, and it turns out to be Country Road from John Denver. And I like how Tennessee's he's like, I know John Denver. That's John Denver.
Which is so great to see that there's certain things that still people recognize that we would know from, our time.
They did a little bit of that in Prometheus, but not a lot. Not as much as they do in this movie.
Yeah.
I was just thinking this whole time when that comes up, I was like, so this is the Rocky Mountains, huh?
Well,
that John Denver's full of shit.
And it's funny that the guy's name is Tennessee. It's a country song.
Yeah.
But John Denver was well before my time.
Right. Yeah.
I
mean, to be honest, I don't even know. Somebody would have to show me a song for me to go, oh yeah, that's John Denver. That's crazy. This is the only song I really know from him.
I just know it because there's that, and then of course the Dumb and Dumber reference and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
That's about it. Yeah.
So yeah, they figure out the transmission, what it is. Somebody, and they oh well, we gotta go. Let's go check and see where it's coming from. They're like, that doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound like a right idea. I think we should go back in our cryo sleep and go to where we're planning on going. And it's well, how long is it going to take to get to that transmission? It's 2 weeks. And it's how long until we get to the planet we're supposed to be on? 7 years. And no brainer. I was like, I hate this captain so much. You are the reason this all happens.
Admittedly, pretty much everybody on the bridge was cool with it except for Daniels.
Yep, exactly like Ripley in Alien. She was the one who said no. We should not go near this transmission.
I
Yeah,
said,
but it's in. I wonder if that's where they adopted the edict for like the Weyland-Yutani company, because he's like we're supposed to. The guy says we're obligated. He doesn't mention it's in the code, but they mention that in the original Alien that if they have to investigate unknown signals.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that.
which
Sorry.
is true, but I said he's like the white woman that wants to go pet the most aggressive dog.
No, that's me, dude. That's the white people that always want
Like-
to check shit out, dude.
I was like, I'm with Daniels. I want to skedaddle. Like, let's not.
Yeah, it's like, this doesn't seem like a bright idea, but everyone's like, let's do it. And she's like, of course, she's the only one who agrees to it. So everybody was like, well, I guess we're going. You're going to be wrong.
No, well. In foresight, in hindsight, yes, but I don't think she'd have been too gung-ho to going back into those tubes after what happened to her husband.
Well,
either.
they say that too.
Yeah.
Which, that would have been amazing.
But she did make valid points, like how would we have missed this?
Yeah.
Like we scanned this whole area. Why
Like
would we just miss
were
this
doing enough
perfect fucking planet?
Yeah, we were doing research for how long to figure out like a viable planet for us to live on? Like, how would we have just bypassed this?
Yeah, right.
So they decide to go to the planet. They send down a lander, and we then get some titty insults on the bridge. I'm like, all right,
Sugar tits.
Hold.
No, it was sweet tits
and
and then
sugar
sugar dick. Yes. Bring normalize sugar dick. You're gonna catcall, you gotta do it both directions, man.
So you find out
that they're married to each other. That's Tennessee and his wife.
Oh, I thought he was saying it to somebody else's wife, and they were talking about.
No,
like, hey,
that was his wife.
Oh,
no, that was his wife. Because remember, she's the one that takes the lander down.
Okay.
And all
Yeah,
that.
she's the one who pilots the lander. He's up there, and the woman sitting next to him is
That's right.
I can't remember his name. They die later
Married
on.
to Ricks. Yeah.
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 So yeah,
Smollett.
somebody you'll never see in movies again.
Probably.
So they take the lander down. It's a rough ride because this atmosphere is it's just stormy. It's intense.
It's like a big hurricane.
Yeah.
Nobody's like,
hey, it's like Kong Skull Island. Whoa.
Let's just, fly through the center of the
like nobody's like
cloud.
Like, dude, if we're taking a few weeks, right, to going off course a little bit, and as opposed to years, why don't we just fucking wait a little bit for the storm to go? And then everybody's like, no, let's just fucking do it, man. Like,
or at least figure out what it's gonna do.
This is another thing where there's like, oh, everything's fine and dandy. Let's just go down there. Like, guys.
It's not.
This doesn't seem like a wise choice.
No, it doesn't.
So yeah, they get to the planet though, and it looks pretty nice. It looks like Earth in a way, like everything. You got beautiful water and green mountains, even though you can't really see that it's green because this movie is very like the palette of this movie is so dark, and
Very
not dark like AVP Requiem, but like it's just the sunlight. It feels like the sunlight doesn't hit this planet much, even though you have like beautiful trees and
very similar to Prometheus. That kind of really everything just looked dark.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, they go to find the signal. The captain is very gung-ho about this planet. He immediately was like, let's move here. This looks great. Let's move here. And she's like, we just got here. What are you talking about, bro?
There's some other people like chiming in, like, but I don't blame her. She's like, guys, just hold the fuck on. Like you said, we don't even know anything about this planet.
Because they see that there was like there was wheat that was being grown, and they're like, well, who grew this? Oh, well, clearly we can grow things here. So let's do this. Fuck that other planet that we did all that research on and we know we're gonna be good with. Let's go to this one. We have no idea what it is. Other than the fact that shit's growing.
Yeah, why does nobody question? It's fucking wheat.
But
and
they
even said
it.
Yeah, but they're like, what are the odds of this being here? And she's like, almost impossible.
I'm like, have we not learned anything yet?
No, absolutely not.
We're gonna take our helmets off of this unknown planet because we assume that
no, they just went out without them.
Okay,
they're like, fuck it.
Well, yeah, they go out with no helmets and they start eating shit that they have
Nope.
Looks like wheat.
Just because it looks like wheat, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. It's not wheat that makes your ass explode. And I don't mean like Taco Bell. I mean, it just explodes.
It's like
hey, you done lost an ass
you
there,
stuck
son.
a firecracker up your ass. And there you
it's just
go.
your cheeks are laying on the ground. Like, oh, damn.
So,
get you
Corinne is her name, is Orem's wife. She finds a nice spot. She wants to do some research or whatever. So they give Ledward, he's like one of the security guys, I guess. He's like he's got the guns. So yeah, you stick with her. She's going to go do her thing. Well, we're going to keep going. And they find the aftermath of something that had landed on the planet, because you see all the trees are gone, and it's like, oh, what's going up there? Well, in order to find it, we got to go up there. And it's like, you guys are fucking idiots.
And then this boils it down to, like, they're going through this, like, oh, we're doing a planetary expedition. Well, we should stop here. Why the fuck? You noticed, like I said, nothing about this planet. You literally get on it, and you're like, I'm going to leave my wife with one other dude on this random trail.
And she's like, bye.
And it should have been like, let's all stick together.
Have a beautiful time.
Right? It should have been, let's all stick together, check the signal out. Then from there, we'll go back to our lander and build a perimeter up from there. Instead of just being like, let's just leave you in a random spot.
But then, also, there's no wildlife on this planet.
Yes.
No.
So, probably not a great idea to another reason why you shouldn't stay on this planet. Clearly something is happening that wiped out the wildlife, because there had to have been wildlife here before, and whatever happened wiped it all out.
Things don't usually exist unless there's other things that take advantage of them.
Yeah, and we find out what this planet was before, so clearly there had to have been wildlife. So the Covenant is, of course, hanging above the storm, like they're hanging above the atmosphere. But they can't get a good signal on communication because of that really thick atmosphere in the storm that's happening.
Yeah.
So we then see Ledward. He's walking through. He kicks up. He looks. There's like these black pods on the ground, and he kicks up one of them, and it becomes like sentient, and it forms and crawls into his ear. Which I like this shot a lot, where the thing is it goes into his ear and then it embeds itself.
And he's just like.
Yeah,
it is or whatever. Yeah.
So the group, they locate the derelict ship, and we get, they're exploring it, and that's when they notice this is where the signal came from. And they find the playback, those replay videos that were from Prometheus, where it shows like Elizabeth Shaw doing the controls and stuff like that. And she's the one who was singing Country Road. So, we found it, guys. Well, what is this? So we then get it, but then while they're exploring it, another member of the crew kicks up some of that black dust, and it goes. I think it goes. Does it go up his nose?
I think it goes
right.
Yeah, I think so.
Because he steps on it.
Mm-hmm. So then we go back to Ledward, who's not feeling so well. He's coughing. He's having a hard time continuing to walk. Yep. So they explore then we go back to the other guys. They're exploring the ship, and they find Shaw's dog tags, and that's when they talk about her a little bit. They talk about how she was part of the Prometheus, how it disappeared 10 years ago, and they don't know what happened to it. And we then come back to Ledward, who is just he's in rough shape, and then we see that the beard guy is not doing any better. I don't know what this guy's name was. Was this Angkor?
I think it's Hallett.
Yeah, you're right. And he's not doing so good either. So things are getting crazy. Ledward gets back to Corinne brings Ledward back to the ship where Ferris is there. She's in charge of everything, and they go into the med bay, and things are happening. Like his back explodes blood all over Ferris, and she just locks Corinne in the room with Ledward.
That's even before, when Ledward, before they even get to the ship, he just vomits blood all over her.
Oh yeah. She's carrying him, and she's calling for Ferris to come help, and she's the entire time it's just Corinne Ferris, fucking help me, fucking help me.
And she's like, dude, you don't know what he has.
Yeah.
But I'm so torn between this whole span of what happens between all of them. Because one, I'm like, okay, don't let him on the ship because he looks like shit. He's already vomited blood. She's got blood on her. He's got blood on him. What the hell is going on? Don't let him on.
And she should be like, listen, I will bring you stuff. You stay right fucking there.
Exactly.
He is not coming on this ship, and neither are you.
But
again, this was the same shit from the original Alien. Yeah. Quarantine. Come on, guys. You're on a foreign fucking planet. You cannot detect everything that's there. There's going to be shit you do not know about.
Because then everything goes down, and Corinne's like, let me out.
Yeah.
She sees what's going on. She's like, hell no. I'm not letting you out.
Like there is
You
something,
take care of
there is something
yourself.
being birthed out of this man's back. Like I know.
You brought this on this ship.
Get some
You take
gloves
care
on.
of it.
Oh, wash your hands.
I do like the interaction when Ferris goes back and she's calling up to the Covenant, and Tennessee answers, and she's like freaking out, and he says like, you just got to calm down, figure out. She's like, don't tell me to calm down. And then once like everything's over, she goes back, and he's just like, that's not good. I've never seen my wife scared like that.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, because she goes in to help Corinne for a minute, and like Corinne can't see his back, which is like, and it like explodes shit all over
Ferris
on
sees
Ferris.
it.
Yeah, but it's like splits onto Ferris.
Yeah, but she sees what's going
That's
on.
when she locks in and goes out and locks the fucking door.
Yep. So
she makes a mistake.
Yeah, and so she's locked in there, and the Neomorph is born from Ledward's back, attacks Corinne on the floor. You know, she's being attacked and all that, and Ferris goes to grab a shotgun, and she starts shooting at it because she opens the door, or she goes into the room to shoot it. She shoots at it a couple times, but it escapes, and like she runs. She's having a fight with it until she shoots it looked like a big stack of propane tanks that were like.
But she shoots, or she locks. She tries to shut the door, and it shuts on her leg.
Oh,
so she's like hobbling around.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where she made the mistake. If she would have not gone back into the room, she could have. Well, I feel like escaped.
Well, Corinne got fucking mauled. We left that part out. She gets mauled by the Neomorph.
Oh no, I didn't forget about it. I just said she got attacked.
Yeah,
she was getting the thing was on top of her, like clawing at her.
It's just little. Okay, it's born like it's a whole thing.
She has a knife in her hand, and she's got this knife out, and this thing is attacking her, and she still has the knife out. I'm like, you gonna use it, or you just gonna?
That's called somebody didn't tell her where the visual effects were gonna go for her to react to.
Just put like a dog in like a little green thing and just throw it on her. And like, in her face. Like,
Alien 3 tried that. It didn't
a little rat terrier or something.
I will say, right? I like how like they're born though, like, and especially this dude fucking dying, like it just blows up out of his back, like it's got like the whole.
And it's also not.
It's almost like a placenta on him, like on it when it falls out, and the dude just fucking like he sells that like death. He just
he flops backwards.
Oh, it's so good, dude.
That was
really
really
uses
good.
its tail or whatever to cut through,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not like just a one slice. It's a like we're just gonna.
It's fucking gnarly, dude. Neomorphs are badass,
and they don't cut the same way.
Nope. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But yeah, they don't.
So Ferris,
it's really cool.
Yeah,
like
so Ferris shoots at the propane tanks, blows the whole lander up. Which this Neomorph dies, correct?
No.
There is two Neomorphs in this movie. I thought there was only the one.
No,
there are two, but I thought the one blew up in this one, and then the one we got primarily was the one that comes from Hallett.
No, this is the first one of these gets killed immediately after the other one's born, but the other one gets taken care of later.
Okay, so so Ferris blows up the lander, and of course the captain and Danny see it happen, and then the worst thing is like, hey, what can we do to make this scene even worse for these characters? Oh, let's see one of them on fire walking down the fucking platform.
Yeah, it's
which is Corinne.
I thought it was Ferris.
Was it Ferris?
Corinne was still in the room. She was already mauled and dead.
Oh, you couldn't tell. It was hard to tell. I don't know, man.
I just assumed because she shot, the whole thing went up, and she was right there with the loading bay, so it would make sense for her to stumble out. But it could have been either one. I just assumed it was her by placement.
So of course, Corinne being the captain's wife, of course he's distraught and all that, and the thing is like Tennessee's up above. He doesn't even know anything. Like his wife just died, and he has no idea. And Hallett gives birth to another Neomorph out of his mouth with a really cool practical. This is a cool practical effect too, because you could tell this was not CGI. This was, but it was cool, like just wow, that's the craziest way I've ever seen any type of these creatures being born. That was the most wild.
No shit, dude. You drank some heavy shit. But no, but it's cool. Like I said, it's the whole, like you get the placenta and everything when it comes out. Like it's not just like a face hugger or whatever. It's just the whole. I mean, not a face hugger, but chest burster. It's just all of it.
But it was almost like snake-like. until
I think it's just because of how it's wrapped up in that stuff.
until all the appendages.
And it like splits
like
his mouth in half too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the alien, the guard alien, the Royal Guard from Alien 3.
Mm-hmm.
The runner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
The Xenomorphs were modeled after the runner.
Which makes sense.
Because they run on
I mean, I totally see it. Yeah, But yeah, that one dude tries to shoot it, he's just like, boop.
He just blasts that dude's chin off, yeah.
Shit, no.
Oh, no, he doesn't shoot his chin off. The Neomorph swipes at it. You find out that Lope and Hallett were a couple, which you don't really find out until this scene.
What,
he's like,
were they?
Yeah, he was saying goodbye. He was saying goodbye to him. He was mourning him. Because
I had no idea.
Yeah, well, they talk about how like everyone here is a couple.
That makes sense.
And there's a prologue that was filmed that I mentioned slightly before, where it shows them, together. So I just wish we kind of had that knowledge. Where I just felt like it wasn't really shown. Not that we needed it like thrown in our face, but it was like at least give us an idea. We found out who everybody else was a couple, like who everybody else was with. So
that's true.
Even if you forget 10 seconds later.
Fair.
So the Neomorph is already massive, and it's running through the weeds. It's fucking slicing dudes' chins off. It's doing crazy shit. And a hooded man walks to the middle of the weeds, and he shoots a flare, and he's like, "Come with me if you want to survive." And I was like, "You bastards! I knew what you wanted to do, but you couldn't do it. You sons of bitches."
They do kill one of the Neomorphs here. You see it clearly get gunned down. It's like, then the other one shows up, and that's when they flare it.
Yep.
Yeah. It's the smaller of the two. It's the second born. I think it's the one from Hallett, not the one that helped blow up the ship.
But I laughed so hard when he comes up. He's like, "Come with me if you want to survive." And I was like, "Ah."
Not me thinking that it was. I'm like, "Oh, it's Shaw," and then I'm like, "No, that's a man's voice."
No.
I had calls like, "It's David,"
and then I was like, "No."
So yeah, they follow David through the city of the dead, as I call it, because there's just crispy bodies all over this place.
Yeah.
We said it reminded us of Pompeii.
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of very similar.
I was like, "Is this Rome?" And Dan's like, "No."
Well, technically, Pompeii wasn't in Rome, so.
Well, this was, and then he's like, "What's that city with the volcano?" And I was like, "Pompeii." I'm like, "Okay, I get it." But
I've been there. It's really good.
I just assumed that it was some like older city because of the it has the pillars and everything, and I was like, "Oh, it looks like something like Rome or something."
I mean, 100%. This so you find out this is the engineer's homeworld, and this planet definitely. I mean, this civilization is probably thousands of years old.
Yeah, but they're like that. They're like that one archetype of advanced civilization that are like they're advanced, but they're very old fashioned with parts of their life.
They're wearing togas and shit.
Yeah. They're that
That's
kind.
why I said Rome.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
So as they're going through, you see all these bodies, and they ask David, like, "Hey, what the hell happened here?" And he's like, "Oh, well, me and Dr. Shaw, we landed on the planet, and we accidentally hit a button that released all of this virus thing on top of everybody, killing everybody. Whoopsie daisy!" And we then crashed, and Shaw died in the crash. So whoopsie daisy.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then the very wise decision to tell David exactly what they're doing there and what their mission is. "Oh, hey, we're part of the Covenant. We are we're bringing people to a planet so we can bring new life." And David's like, "Yeah, that ain't happening."
He's like, "That's fair." Even the way he says shit, he's like, "That's very fascinating."
Yeah,
like,
he's like, "I can't wait to kill them all."
The fact that anybody ever trust this individual blows my fucking mind.
But they don't.
But no, even like we'll talk about it when we get some of the revelations later. But like, why at any point would you trust this motherfucker?
Here, I just had the revelation. You know how they said that you as a salesman could sell a ketchup popsicle to a lady in white gloves? Yeah. That's exactly what he is.
He's that
do.
kind of cocksucker. He's a manipulator.
Oh, that's
so
100%.
manipulative. And I'm like, why the hell is he so good at talking people into doing shit.
Because
And I'm
people
like,
are stupid, and he knows it. That's the whole point. He knows how stupid humanity is.
And I can't stand people like that because it's like his form of belittling, and he knows he can do it. So he's just like, ooh, here's my chance.
He also says hello to Walter. Hello, brother.
And he's like, what the fuck?
He's like, what?
Because Walter's face is like,
Huh?
what?
Well, he knows there's other ones, but he's surprised to find one out here.
Yes, finding one, and that looks exactly like him. Like,
Well, it's like some of the later models all look like, apparently that Wayland at the time, or Bishop, the later ones. So they just model after somebody. But anyway,
so in this movie, it is Wayland Yutani. Where in Prometheus, it was just Wayland, but when Wayland died, Yutani bought out Wayland and kept the Wayland name because of notoriety. So that's when the Wayland Yutani became a thing.
And then what later it'll be Walmart.
Yes.
Wayland Yutani.
Walmart owns
it was just Walmart. They ain't changing their fucking name.
Yeah. No.
So yeah, there's no luck on the communication, and Tennessee's getting antsy because of course his wife's down there, and he wants to know what the hell's happening. So he decides we're gonna go closer to the planet, and they're like, I don't think that's a good idea. And he's like, well, what the fuck you think we should be doing?
He asked how close he can get.
80 or 80
before
miles.
And then Mother's like 80 meters.
So he said,
bring me down there.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, take me there. And whoever's with him is like, wouldn't do that if I were you.
Yeah,
but she just said I could.
Upworth and
because you find out that Upworth is higher.
Well, while they're all gone, he's in charge, but she's the second in command.
Yeah. She's higher ranked as far as like what can be done with the ship.
Yeah, she's trying to put some sense into him, but he's just like, nah, I need to figure out what the hell's going on. We need to talk to them. We need to know what the hell is happening.
It makes me wonder how these fucking people got this. I understand his word about his job. Listen, that'd be like this is the same. I can't be in that situation. I'm just saying, can't be in that situation. These are people who are paid to make rational decisions, and they have thousands upon thousands of people that are in the back of this the wagon that don't even know what the fuck's going on. They're just expecting to get to a home world, and he's just like, you know what? I'm just going to kill all thousands of these people just so I can make sure my wife's still alive. I get it. It's an emotional thing, but it's a really stupid decision.
I'd do the same thing. Just saying.
You don't just risk thousands of people's lives.
If I didn't know what happened to you, I would risk my life.
It'd be different if it's like, I'm going out alone to find them. No, that's fine.
I'd risk everything.
But that just doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry. I'm a...
You see this relationship? You see what side
I'm enjoying listening to this.
I'm not saying you wouldn't go out and find the person, but you don't risk thousands of people's lives to do it. You go by yourself if you want to find somebody.
How is he supposed to go by himself?
Well, they figured it out later in the fucking movie to do it. So he went down by himself. I'm just saying.
Oh boy. So Walter explores David's lair, and David walks in, and this is when we get the weirdest fucking scene in this entire movie. He teaches him how to play the recorder.
He's like, I'm not programmed to do this.
Yeah, because he literally says it to him. He's like, you were a fucking weirdo. You were, they just made people uncomfortable. You were too human. So they had to kind of cut things back for my model. So like, I don't really, emotion isn't really much of a thing for me. And he can't create. That's the biggest thing for Walters. He can't create things.
Yeah.
So that's why he doesn't know how to do the recorder. And this is when we get the line where we also Walter's hand gets chewed off by one of the Xenomorphs.
Yeah.
It gets acid.
Because he puts his hand.
He puts his hand in the mouth and it
burns it.
So of course he can't play it. So he's like, well, watch me and I'll do the fingering. And I was like.
And then, I was like, wow.
We also have to put into effect that this is the same guy. This is just Michael Fassbender talking to Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
And it just gets more awkward from there.
So
it gets
weird.
worse. Yeah, it gets worse. Yeah.
So Danny was right about the planet, and I like that the captain apologizes. He's like, I should have listened to you in the first place, but you still suck, Cap, because you still decided to do this.
But it wasn't just him. It was everybody agreed.
Well, everybody sucks, but Danny.
I know. I'm just saying. But literally, she's even like, in this time, all of us need to be here. We need you with us.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, the character, in my opinion, starts coming around. He's still a piece of shit, but he starts coming around. Less about him being up his own ass and more kind of being like, we got to figure this shit out.
It's one of those things where it's like, we've all lost somebody now. We need to stick together and get through this.
But he's still halfway up his own ass.
Oh, he's totally up his own ass.
Yeah. I don't like how he talks. Like, he is very condescending and sarcastic a lot, but like in a weird way. And that's just a way Billy Crudup it just puts into this performance, or even into a lot of his characters. He's just very sarcastic. So, and then he's like, we got to have faith. And I was like, oh shit, we're putting faith into this now?
Yeah.
Damn, man.
Well, they talked about that earlier in the movie too.
It's like when you start being like, when bad things are happening, it's like, we just got to rely on faith. I'm like, we're fucked because I am not relying on that shit. Sorry for anyone who is, is religious or whatever, but like, when you start saying like, I got to rely on faith to get through something, not for me.
I'm sorry, I wouldn't rely on Orem to do anything to get us out of.
No, Daniel, put the money on Daniels or Lope or something. Somebody that's Lope is gonna like
Daniels
get the shit done.
Definitely, like she's
a go-getter.
Mm-hmm.
She definitely is. She's not naive, for one. She knows what she's doing. She's definitely a strong leader, but not.
They definitely made her. She is the Ripley of this movie. They even made her kind of look like her in a way.
Yes.
So David tells the story to Walter about what really happened to the planet. He released this virus on purpose. They literally land on the planet. He releases the thing. Also, you find out in a prologue that Shaw was actually in cryosleep when this all happens, and then he later kills her while she's in cryosleep. And so he released the virus on purpose, killing all the people on the engineer planet. The weird thing is these people didn't look anything like the engineers from Prometheus.
They look drastically different.
Yeah.
Like, they had a little bit of the aesthetic, but they looked different. They didn't look.
Yeah.
And why would these people, being a spacefaring people for thousands of years or however long, why would they just have one planet?
And why are they all here at this square?
I don't know. Maybe it's a big deal when somebody.
It was a lot of. So when they showed it at first, I was like, oh, there's like maybe 20. No, they back up and there's like hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, this isn't the entire planet is just here in the square.
This is like.
Are they having like a Christmas party? Like everybody?
No, they're waiting for this arrival because they think it's their people. They think it's the people who went to go do whatever they were doing before.
No,
I think. Here's my opinion. This is what I think. I think this is actually a huge empire. It's not one fucking planet. It doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry, it doesn't. Like, if you're a spacefaring people, you wouldn't have just one planet. I'm sorry. That's like all your eggs, one basket. It doesn't make any sense for how they've talked about having outposts and shit. We know they have multiple outposts throughout the, Prometheus, and then, LV-4, whatever it is. And in the original Alien was clearly an outpost of theirs, or wherever one of their ships went out. It doesn't matter. They have multiple places. This feels like this planet was like that one town you drove through when you're going to a different state that had like 50 people in it. It was like this backwater ass planet, and they just happen to live here. It's like the Weird Bunch. It's their trailer park.
No,
and they just...
no.
I'm just kidding.
It's the
not the trailer park.
Hippies?
It's the group that waited for the comet to arrive.
Oh, I was gonna say Mormons, but I know what you're talking about the Kool-Aid people.
That's exactly what they are. They're all the people that believe that this was going to happen. There's other places that
I think it was. About. I think it was just a backwater planet. Because if you were as advanced, I mean, you see the engineers in you see them how they look in Prometheus, and obviously these are the military guys. So these are like the jacked motherfuckers with 10-inch dicks, and then like they have like the cut massive chins.
That's the first thing you got to mention, the 10-inch dicks.
Absolutely. I mean, as tall as the guy is, I mean, that may be short for them. They're fucking huge. So, but anyway, but like they look different. Like they're all militarized and like they're craft. But then when you see them here, it doesn't look as much like that. And that's why it doesn't feel like this is a direct association. This has to be a backwater planet.
Mhm.
and probably one they don't give a fuck about because
They
this
were the
happened. And
ones
they're
that
like,
lived across the railroad tracks.
they dance up to the trailer park. Kidding.
Yes,
So-
so kidding.
But yes, I agree. They don't. Nothing. Something's
We
not
live
right about
across
here.
the railroad tracks. Just saying.
So yeah, so David released the so we talked about that, and you get to see Shaw's grave too, and also the Prometheus theme plays as he tells the entire story. So you're like, oh yeah,
That's
and
the
the Neomorph shows up to the where they're at. So David's little lair there, it ends up showing up,
These
and
motherfuckers left their lights on.
yeah,
I
and
gotta go tell them.
it ends up paying a visit to Rosenthal, who's one of the crew members that you kind of forget is even there.
She steps away to freshen up.
Yeah,
she's
she
gotta
goes
take a
to
shower.
yeah, she's got to clean herself up. And to be honest, this attack scene kind of made me laugh because it's like it doesn't have a visible mouth, and then it opens up like the most cartoonish creature ever, where just like just like attack, like latches onto her and like
Goblin shark.
No,
Jesus.
It's Venom.
Yeah,
Yes, it kind of reminded me of that.
Well, the thing I like about these is even though like they've, you've seen similar behavior from the Xenomorphs later, but they're really quiet.
Mhm.
Like where they want to be,
Very
like
quiet.
they just
yeah,
and they stand weird. They're weird when they're standing upright.
they're very humanoid,
It's really weird.
like when they're standing.
Yeah, not even like I know
Oh,
Xenomorphs stand like they kind of slouch.
It was
a little
more, I
bit,
mean,
but,
it was
like,
it does
these are
this
just
to It
upright.
does it to David because it knows, like it like respects like David. It knows who David is and all that.
Well,
And then when it sees that the captain kind of is creeping behind him, because the captain notices that, or no, David walks into the Neomorph chewing on Rosenthal's body as her head is like floating in the sink.
Honestly, I thought the kill was kind of cool, but the mouth thing is weird.
Yeah,
Because of
it
how
was really
looks, how it,
cartoonish to me.
extends out. Well, no, I agree. But keep going.
So Tennessee brings the ship closer to the planet. It starts getting dangerous, and of course, everybody's not on board with this. The Neomorph really likes David, but the captain not so much, because the captain ends up shooting it. And Orem is like, I need some info on what the fuck is happening here.
Dude,
David's like,
hate this.
come on.
I hate this scene, and I hate it for what I like. This is my cutoff. The Neomorphs should have been the only aliens in this movie.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get to that
just-
because we haven't gotten
I
to
know.
it yet. So.
But I'm not going to go into the full thing. But this is my cutoff. I hate this scene because the captain's behind him, and David says something to him like not to shoot it, and he's like, if you blow on the nostrils of a horse, you'll have it forever. Why would that work? Why would that work for this? In this situation, why would it work? I know, right? Secondly, we have seen in other films, not specifically this one, in the Prometheus 2 movies, because there really wasn't a big alien interaction outside of with engineers. We have seen Xenomorphs kill synthetics or destroy synthetics. Bishop got fucked up by the alien queen. Like we have precedents for this happening. Why does it just blow in my face? I'm cool with that. Like it just doesn't make sense to me whatsoever. I get what they explained later, but this doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
And I hate this scene.
But I get why. I get it now why they make me feel so uncomfortable. If you know what a skinwalker is,
Yeah.
that's exactly what it reminds me
They look
of.
like it, don't like I love the design. Like I love it because it's different. I wish this was it. They didn't call it Alien, they just called it Covenant. And because then, like, we got the Deacon in the first one, which was an alien creature, but it wasn't a xenomorph. This isn't a xenomorph.
It's not.
So this movie was originally going to be called Paradise Lost, and they literally changed it to Alien Covenant because of as we said before, the backlash.
If they would not have put Alien on there, because you've seen all these xenomorphs before, and you know what you want it to look like. Like
it looks kind of similar, just pink and fleshy.
But you know what the xenomorphs look like, and why are you drastically changing it so much, though?
What, for how it looks?
Yeah,
it's a scrolomorph.
It's exactly. It looks like a scrotum,
but it's not the same. Remember what the Deacon looked like.
I know
it's not the original. It's a version we're not to yet.
But it's not even like it's evolved into anything. It's so drastically different than when
Well, that was a
But
different
whatever.
process too, because they talk about, even David mentions in
But
this,
I
and
still.
I know
That's why I think that's why I hate it so much. Other than it's nightmare fuel. But it's not what I think of an alien being. Just don't put alien on it.
that's what I said. It shouldn't have been alien.
If you like you said, if it would have just been Covenant, I think I would have been more apt to like, except for half the crew that
But even then, it's still like I just didn't care how it all ended up playing out. But the thing is the black stuff. This is just the black stuff from the last movie, just altering itself for the environment or whatever we talk about later. But what, like David has said, either kills, it attacks, horribly mutates it, or makes something, or just some weird hybrid birthed out of it. But also, it could be used to make life, which, depending, varies greatly. So, I love it. I think they're great. I love this contrasting opinion.
Yes, I'm loving it. So Tennessee gets told about his wife. We get the sad, and then he kind of got to keep going. And then David, he plays show and tell with Orm. He brings him through his room. He shows him all like the different, like the iterations of the xenomorphs that he's been trying to create. He just can't. He hasn't been able to get the right one yet. But that's why he killed Shaw, because he kind of used her as like an experiment. Like he used her to try to create this creature, this beautiful creature, as Ash says in the original Alien. And he then brings them to a room that's got these massive eggs. These eggs seemed a lot bigger than the ones from Alien. They're
not the same ones.
No. These are different. These are different xenomorphs.
Yep.
This is called a Planet 4 xenomorph, because that's what this planet was classified as.
And this is what made me like David even less, because he talks him into it.
Yeah. He's like, why don't you stick your face in that thing you've never seen before? And then
it's fine.
It's all right. Check it out. And he's like, okay. And he sticks his face over it, gets a face hugger on him. And David's all like,
got me.
Yeah, I knew it was coming. I was like, here it comes.
I knew it was coming.
There were a few decent jumps.
So pretty much we find out David is the creator of the xenomorph. Like, he is the reason they exist. And that is what made me go, fuck that. Come on. Really?
So, this is dumb as fuck.
It's so stupid.
Here's my complaints with it. So the idea is, this is where I will greatly differ from Ridley Scott. The idea was, it was to make the xenomorph, it was a combination of all the other neomorphs and everything, other things that were birthed from the black goo, human DNA and tissue samples, and engineer DNA and tissue samples. Here's what I don't understand. I understand David was trying to make a perfect being because he wants to create, and he wants to smite humans, and he wants to smite the creators of humans with his whole Ozymandias, I'm fucking God, look at my dick, I'm the Pope now kind of shit, right? His holier than thou bullshit.
Speech
it's dumb as fuck. But anyway, it's this massive God complex he has.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my problem. You have a weapon that is designed for mass destruction. It is airborne. It can live in spores and spread literally by something bumping into them and breathing it in, and they wouldn't even notice 99% of the time. And you've wiped hundreds of them out, made hundreds of mutations, or just killed a shit ton of people. Why would you go from literally a bioaerosol transmission method to, I'm going to make a arthropod-looking thing that attaches to people's faces and makes one at a time? It is the most,
and you need a person to do it.
It is the most radically inefficient way of. He's like, I want more to experiment with. Then why did you make a version that's less efficient than the version that preceded it?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's why I made that distress call, so that I could test it on a human, because this is the only way that it would work. Okay, well, that doesn't make any sense when, I agree. Why would you do this?
He went backwards, and
he did. It doesn't make any sense.
He started from square one when he could have just kept going with what he had,
Yeah.
which he had all the power to do. I mean, look, he took out 2 people in 10 minutes?
So my question is, when he drops the virus, when he drops all those vials down onto the planet, kills everything, does that create those like spore things?
I'm assuming like
because there's no way that they had to have been there before, right? I feel like they would have known about them.
No,
especially with how easy you could just bump into them and get infected.
Yeah,
I'm assuming it's obviously they said it doesn't kill plants. It only kills non-botanical matter. That's what it hits. That's obviously why we talked about there's no animals and shit. It obviously is a way to settle in plants, or that's some way it goes dormant. Because obviously they're not all over the place, but you run into these little pods. But my other problem is this is the dumbest fucking excuse for the Xenomorphs to exist. I really don't understand how Ridley Scott or whoever was involved in the writing process, creating process of this is like, you know what we should do? We should take a vengeful, neglected, I had a bad quote unquote childhood, giant man-child robot that despises humans, but actually just wants to be like a human, and I'm going to make the Xenomorphs. Not the species that's existed for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years before humans. I'm going to figure out how to best their technology with our limited knowledge and make this fucking... It's stupid. The idea is Ridley Scott wanted David to be the creator of the Xenomorphs that we know today. After this movie came out, other people who were involved in like creating stuff for the Alien franchise literally like, no, fuck that. That's stupid. The alien that he ends up making, the Xenomorph that he ends up making in this movie, they call a praetomorph. Not a protomorph, but a praetomorph, which is similar to the Praetorians, which is when we talked about Alien versus Predator Requiem, the Pred alien, how it could lay eggs. It was like one step from being a queen. That's a Praetorian. But this is, with the Praetomorph is different enough in some aspects. You see it later with the really long limbs and shit like that, or it just looks different than a regular Xenomorph we see later. The thought is by people later on figured that this wasn't him creating the Xenomorphs, that the engineers already made them. This was David attempting to copy their creation. Because while they're very similar to Xenomorphs that we see later in the franchise, they're not the same. This one is considered much less intelligent, more animalistic when you see it later, just smashing its head and shit into glass and stuff. When we see aliens later in the franchise, like in the actual
They
Alien
work
movie,
they're very smart. They're
very smart. Yeah,
strategically.
The Queen. Like they're more intelligent, more hive-minded, less, individually solitary hunters. Yeah, that's which totally reflects David 100%. But that's my biggest qualm. Like the fact that you literally just this literally is like, bad childhood, my dad didn't love me, so I make aliens. That's literally what this is.
He's like a spoiled brat.
That's literally what this is, and it's the dumbest fucking thing.
He's like, I hate people. Kill them all.
Love me.
Yeah, so he's like, I'm going to kill them, and I'm going to kill the people that created them, and thereby doing that, I'm somehow like, I created their gods. Like, well, we don't worship these engineers as gods. At least not all people did. They're just the people that made us. It doesn't make them like this holy, greater than everything figure. It's just the people that made humanity in this universe. And then he's just, he's so wrapped up in his own god complex that he doesn't even...
got that one taste of blood, and he's just...
On top of that, for the love of God, Shaw, why the fuck did you put him back together? Why? You see what he did to people in the last movie.
Knew that he was the reason behind everything that happened.
Yes, and you put him back together. Leave him in a fucking jar as a head, and you tell me how to operate this damn ship. Yeah. I'll push the right gummy bears, and we'll go to wherever we need to fucking go to.
I wanted her, when she lowered his body, to just be
just
like,
drop
oops, sorry, and just drop it, and it shatter.
That is, I probably something else to bitch about, but that is my big rant for this movie. That is what fucking killed this for me.
At least if she had just his head, she probably could have done her own thing. Just leave the head there and go on.
Should have been like Futurama and just put his fucking head in a jar. Tell me where to go, bitch boy.
Oh man. Okay, I'm done. All right, so T ventures down a little farther down. We then get to see David watch his creation burst from Orem, and this was another stupid scene where you get to see they both they do the synchronized stance as he gets birthed.
I would have loved it better if they hadn't done that, because I'm like, oh, it's a cute little
Yeah, and this one's birthed as a complete being
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, it was like
It's not like a normal chest burster.
Full on teeny tiny. But I'm like, oh, it's kind of cute. But then they do that, and I'm like, shit.
Yeah, I was like, that's dumb. Like, I know it's supposed to be symbolic and shit, but it just looks
Because
stupid.
he's like,
Yeah, I've never liked the scene.
Yeah,
so Walter discovers Shaw's body while all that's happening, and then David, he pretty much figures out that David had killed her to experiment on her, because you get to see her body all torn to shreds.
Was weird too.
Yeah. We then see like David sitting alone in a room playing the Prometheus theme on the recorder. And it's pretty much the motive is that David just wants to kill all humans. He wants humanity to die and to create the perfect organism. It seems androids love saying that. And then we get the weird Fassbender kissing Fassbender.
Dude, why? Dude,
I was like, what is happening right now?
Like,
that's what I don't like. Like I said,
I don't need to see him making out with himself. Like, just
he
turns into a crab. You're like, ew.
Yeah, he stabs him in the neck. Like,
yeah.
That I blinked and missed
it was quick.
That.
It was super
quick. So quick. I'm like, what the hell happened?
His
he just
face was so funny.
Fetal position.
Dude, there's a few they do that. Oh, that reminds me. When there's a scene, I think it's when the Orm kills the other the Neomorph in the thing, and it does this reaction of Fassbender's face, and I think they augmented it with CG because it just looked really
so goofy.
It looked dumb as fuck, dude.
So everybody's like, where's the captain at? And then Danny also discovers all of David's experiments and all the pictures and all that. Yeah, all the art and stuff.
Cool. The art was really cool, but I'm like an artsy person, so I like.
Well, yeah, it's all much like. I don't know if Geiger wasn't alive for this, was he?
He died 2 years before this movie came out.
Yeah, whoever did this, unless this is just drawings that he had about that he had
a lot of this was based on Geiger's work.
Yeah, which makes sense because that's he's the whole foundation of the artistic. The aesthetics of the series.
Yeah.
But I thought they were great. I thought they looked really cool.
So we get was it Lope gets the face hugger on him, and then you see the Xenomorph, and the Xenomorph's already huge at this point.
Yeah, because he gets the face hugger on him, and then that other dude, is it Cole? Is it Cole that helps him out?
I think it's Cole.
I think it's Cole's with him because Cole, like, the face hugger gets on him and like onto his face, and then like he manages to get it off of him.
Yeah, because it's almost like he got his hand in between.
Yeah, it was on there pretty good, but not fully, and he like ends up stabbing.
It was before. It was pretty much he gets it off before it's able to lay an egg inside of him.
Because you see when he throws it off, whatever it uses to little penis.
Mm-hmm.
The wing wong. Yeah.
Yes.
The alien wing wong.
Yes.
We've talked about this.
It's retracting into its body, back into its body.
Happens to me when I get cold. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's a normal thing.
So we then get to see David attempting to kill Danny. I like when Danny's just like, what did you do to Elizabeth Shaw? And he's like, exactly what I'm going to do to you. And you're like,
and why is he
going to kiss her? What the fuck is going on with him? Stop kissing people, David. It's weird.
He's not had any action in a long time.
But he's an android. He doesn't need it.
It don't matter.
Well, this is something I don't think you mentioned, and I could have missed it.
He's not been perfected yet.
Before, I think this is before he gets the Control-Alt-Delete to the neck, Walter. He points out his flaw, and he's like, because he does the, hey, who did this? This is right when he does the Ozymandias thing. Mm-hmm. And he's like, who said this? And he's like, no, it's this. He's like, all the time you've been away, like all the files have been corrupting. Yeah. And he's kind of like taken aback by it, where David realized like he doesn't want to believe that's happening, but obviously it is. But yeah, it's like he doesn't like humans. He doesn't like the people who created humans, even though he was created by humans, but he wants to be human, more human, with like kissing and emotions, and making out with himself. He just sounds, you know what he sounds like to me? He doesn't sound like a complex character. He sounds like someone's trying to ride him out of a fucking dead end at this point. Like, how do we make him weird and deep? Like, no, you're just making him fucking weird.
Oh, man. So Walter saves Danny before David can kill her. And they have a cool fight, Walter's got like the upper hand, of course, because he's the more advanced android of the two. Yeah. And so they're fighting. And then it just cuts so that you don't know how the fight ends.
But you know how the fight ends.
So Tennessee then takes like a smaller lander, brings it down to that square to pick up the survivors, which was only, I think it's just Danny and Lope now.
Yeah, I think it is. Danny and Lope, and then
and the Xenomorphs is like, I want to come too.
Don't
and it like
leave me.
hitches a ride. And the Xenomorph gets clawed and squished as Danny gets flung around, as like Tennessee like is like, oh, is there something on here? So she goes out there with a gun, attaches herself. She's like, shooting at it, and it then gets caught in like a claw.
It's the crane.
Because she asked for him to release the crane, and he's like, it's gonna unbalance us by a lot.
Well, which just fits the motif of what I talked about when I was researching this, where the aliens are this one's more animalistic than the other ones. Because when it opens the crane and starts going for it, I'm assuming the alien or the Predomorph just like perceives it as a threat and charges straight into its fucking maw, and it just close.
But like, he tries to tell her that this is gonna cause issues, and she's like, do it. And it causes issues.
It's one of the fucking
So because this is the scene where it climbs onto the windshield and like bashes its head. Which, to be honest, I love the shot. Which it's one of like the more popular shots. It was on one of the posters of the. I know it's not a Xenomorph, but it's a Xenomorph. It crawls onto the top, and you can just see kind of like its whole body, and it like with its teeth exposed. It's a really cool shot, and to be honest, I like all the scenes with the Xenomorph. I think it looks it looks really good. I'm kind of disappointed that there wasn't a lot of practical done with the Xenomorph. A lot of it was motion capture, which is fine, but I just love the feel of that practical Xenomorph.
Well, see, to backtrack a little bit, when I said that I wish there was only one type of alien in this movie, it's because I wish I used my Easy Bake Oven to make a fucking alien species and blah, 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 angry child. I wish that wasn't in the movie because it was fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I like the Xenomorph, or this variant of the Xenomorph. Yeah. I think it's cool. Like, it's got the weird long arms and shit, a little bit longer than like a normal one. It's just, I like how it acts. Like, it's just aggressive. It's crazy and shit, but I just wish it wasn't there.
It's the first time that it's the first time
the Neomorphs do it. Because they're more animalistic. They're just like, I just want to kill and eat.
But it's not the first time you see one of them.
And to be honest,
its head into something.
And to be honest, if you think about it, though, when the Neomorphs and stuff are doing, even this Xenomorph, I think, does it later. I don't think you get a whole lot of shots of it. Is the Xenomorphs are doing it to eat and sustain. It's not like the later Xenomorphs that, they kill people and stuff too, and you see them eating a little bit, but they also capture to reproduce.
Yeah.
Which you don't see that from like the Neomorphs and stuff like that, because that's not their goal.
But it's almost like the Neomorph is more successful when it does it, because in that scene it only hits twice. It hits the first time to break the glass, but then the second time it breaks through.
Well, that is also an interior glass, so I don't know. With that being an exterior glass on a truck, it could be thicker. But you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Or that vehicle.
But it seems like it
also being larger too, because the Neomorphs aren't quite as big. It doesn't look like.
No,
but I don't know. There's not really a good shot of scale. I don't think.
No, but I mean, you can only tell by how big you think the glass is in this.
Yeah, that's true.
As opposed to,
Oh, did we mention that Walter gets on the ship before all this happens? The little lander.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry.
So originally, there was actually a script written up where there was going to be a fight between the Neomorph and the Xenomorph.
We all know that how it's going to go, but carry on.
Yeah.
But that would be cool.
Yeah.
So we find out Danny's the captain now because the last captain is dead. And there's something on the ship because they're back up on the Covenant now. But there's something on the ship, and they're like, "Fuck."
Unknown life.
And you kind of get a hint that guess what? It's not Walter, it's David, because David is very much enjoying everything he's seeing. He finds out that there's something on board. He kind of smirks at it.
Well, here's the thing.
Because you find out that Lope gave birth to another one.
Yes, which this is another problem I have, because it's not okay. We've seen this done before. I know this is a slight variation in species where a grabs onto the face, does the thing around the neck. We see the captain do it. and what happens with the Oram in this, and then it oviposits the eggs. But it doesn't even have time to do that. Like, it gets on his face, and you can still hear him kind of screaming, but not like fully muffled. Like, it doesn't fully got him, and then the dude gets it off of him.
He can still yell for help.
Yeah, and like it doesn't even like wrap and like really knock the target out before it oviposits. It's just like
it just shoots in the air.
I guess it was a quick shot, dude. He's like, dude, you don't even have it in all the way. Like, I couldn't help it. It's my first time.
Oh man!
Anyway,
so it's now shower sexy time. This is actually like the first time you get like full-fledged nudity in an alien movie.
Need this. I mean,
it didn't happen. I was, to be honest, I did not care about either. The guy, he was annoying. He was just a whiny bitch, and he gets it right through the mouth. He gets that tongue punch, which is actually the first time you see the tongue, the little tongue mouth. And so this is when we get the Xenomorph division, and this is where you're like, oh shit, they can actually see. And I was like, oh wait, they had this in Alien 3, so I don't know why I'm so surprised about this.
Well, the kill for this reminded me of where it goes. First the tail goes up underneath the shower.
Yes,
stall, which you see this in some of the trailers.
Yeah,
reminded me of how the one lady died in the first Alien.
Yeah, Lambert.
Yeah, it kind of goes up between her legs a little bit. Yeah.
Yep.
We're gonna impregnate you this way.
They got fucked though, because you get a really quick glimpse of their into the shower, and they got fucked.
They got destroyed. So and it ends up tongue punching the monitor.
Yeah.
So it's now time to hang out in the terraforming bay, which is, hey, we saw this place before. That's why we had the foreshadowing comment. So we get it's a very much a similar fight. It's kind of a mix between Alien and Aliens final confrontation. And they go in there, they trap the Xenomorph inside one of the vehicles, right? And then it ends up breaking out. And it's like chasing them around until she tells Tennessee to like disconnect the vehicle, and she like draws the Xenomorph in, because it hangs onto one of the vehicles, which then it's able to jump back onto the ship, and then it like charges at her as another vehicle is coming towards her, and as soon as it's about to attack her, she drops down to a lower level and it impales the Xenomorph, which then shoots it off the ship.
Yeah, because I was like, where'd she go? Like, because it doesn't show you
a
lower level. It just kind of looks like she jumped off. I'm like,
I think it's a bay. It's like probably where they do like repairs and stuff.
Because I'm like waiting to see her like sacrifice herself, and I was like, oh, where'd she go?
So I mean, I don't know. It just didn't seem like it was a very anticlimactic fight. Felt like it went by too fast.
It was.
Do you feel the movie should have just ended
here?
Like before all this back on the ship?
No, here.
Just I feel like this is just how an Alien movie has to happen. We have to get back on that main ship and have that final confrontation.
I know.
It makes sense,
and it's like we can't. We have to be in space, and the fucker has to get ejected into space.
Yeah, every time. Like how many Xenomorph corpses are just floating through space? It's like,
Yeah, because we all know they can live in space, like for at least a certain amount of period of time.
Just end here, please.
Yeah, I agree. So Tennessee and Danny, they go back to cryosleep, and then Danny realizes just a little bit too late that Walter is actually David.
How did you not know? How the fuck did you not know?
Stabbed him in the chin.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how I just don't understand how she couldn't have known.
We called it.
Like, she knows they're identical.
Way earlier.
Why didn't she look into this?
Yeah. So of course she gets into cryosleep, and his whole thing is he's pretty much going to kill or impregnate a lot of the people that are on board with his regurgitated fucking Zen.
And I hate that too.
Oh, that's a little face hugger there.
Put that one in this dish here.
Yep, there we go. Like, and then of course he like takes control of Mother too, so he has like full control of the ship.
Yeah.
Because
he uses his code.
Yes.
To get it. And I hate movies that show people like throwing up. I cannot stand regurgitated.
But also,
that's the only thing that bothers me. I can see blood all day. I can see guts. I can see surgeries. I don't want to see throw up or even hear.
But also, like, why is Mother accepting this code?
It's just Was
You're
this
like,
like
I don't know you.
code, but it checks out?
Yeah, seems right. Okay.
No, well then, like I know that's his goal. Like you give him, it's supposed to, this is like our Empire Strikes Back ending, right? Where the
Yeah.
bad guy wins. So like you literally have all these people with literally, if they did a third one, I guarantee Daniels and fucking Tennessee would have been dead by the time you saw him, because it'd be just like with fucking Shaw beforehand.
Yep.
But anyway, it's literally thousands of people that he can continue his research of Xenomorphs on, just pull them out as needed.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I just keep thinking of this movie and it's making this scene and it's making my eyes water.
It's very frustrating.
I hate that.
Yeah. So David, as Walter, makes a final transmission because we need this at the end of an Alien movie.
And you have to have somebody doing a final transmission.
And we get the original Alien theme playing over it. And that's it. That's the Alien Covenant. So, like I was stating earlier in the episode, as we were hitting 2 hours, there were some prologues that were filmed for this, which I'm guessing are just deleted scenes that they just called prologues or epilogues. One of them was a fake commercial for the Walter model from Weyland-Yutani.
Nice, I like it.
Which is actually pretty cool. It shows Walter kind of being birthed, like it shows like like a synthetic skeleton, and then it's like they fill it up with this weird liquid, and then it covers it with some like sheet, and then the next day, oh, Walter's born. It's a fully fledged
in there too. Or was that the newer models? Like
I don't. It was like this white goo. It was the blood. You know how they have the white milk blood. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just making references to the first.
The second one was showing all the Covenant members going through like a extreme psych test to like determine if they're suitable for the mission. So like strapped to a chair and like watching weird, like fucked up shit and kind of like talking to people who won't answer back to them.
Kind of like Clockwork Orange.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, pretty much.
There you
go. The third one was that party one I was talking about earlier, where we get to see more of James Franco's character. He goes to bed early and they kind of have a party and talking about stuff. And hey, we then get to see more of Dave. This is where we see a lot more of Shaw in this next one, where we see David and Shaw, figuring out how to get to the engineer homeworld. You see more of her, doing the thing. You see David sitting in that big engineer chair. Or the space jockey chair, and then we see that she went into cryosleep before he releases the vials of the virus.
Again, why the fuck would you trust him?
Yeah, exactly. And then we see the process of David killing Shaw and helping to create the xenomorph and his like whole process. Like it's more of a voiceover of him like going through the whole thing.
Why the fuck does he win?
Because there's got to be a bad. This is the thing. Like he wins that, but ultimately, regardless, if they did a third movie, if he's trying to make this connected to the creation of the other xenomorphs, which doesn't. I don't know how they're going to explain it being on LV-426, but I because that's been there for fucking ever. They even said that the ship's been there forever, so it doesn't make sense in the continuity. But anyway,
I hate when the bad guy wins, though.
I know, but he probably would have died, or what would have happened is he would have finished the xenomorphs, so it would have been like the ones we actually have. Like, I've created my perfect being, and then he would have been killed by his own creation, because that's always how this shit goes. Can
we please have that at least as a deleted scene? Like, I want to see him die.
No, that would have been if they did a third one.
But I want to. I know he needs to die.
Like I said, I liked Michael Fassbender doing David in that movie. And I liked him as Walter in this movie, but I hated his character he was an asshole in the first one. Like, obviously he was a bad guy. He was supposed to be the bad guy in the first movie too, but a little more ambiguous with what was going on.
But why do my favorite characters always have to die?
I know, but this one is just a blatant, he's just like comic book level superhero, like supervillain. I mean, like serious. That's what he felt like. And I was like, I get like he's just gone off the deep end in this movie. I didn't care for him. Walter was cool though.
Yeah, Walter was really cool. Walter. David was my biggest issue with this movie. That and there was too many characters.
Everything's fun. Yeah, too many characters. I thought the beginning drug on a little too long for my liking, because again, I didn't care for the characters, so like it was not as enjoyable.
See, I wanted Shaw to live, which I know she couldn't have.
Yeah.
With how long it in between?
Well, it's 10 years.
She wouldn't have lived.
Oh no, exactly, because she was stupid enough to believe him. But anyway,
because everybody's stupid enough to believe
I
in.
know. And then how they handled the Xenomorphs in this movie, I fucking hated. Like, just that he created them. Like, I fucking hate that idea. It's so dumb, as I just illustrated enough earlier. But I like the Neomorphs, and some of the action scenes were cool. There was some neat, tense stuff. When the Xenomorph was on screen, it was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
That was one thing I hated about Daniels. She believed him until it was
Everybody
too
does.
late. She could have done good.
Mm-hmm. That's why Ripley's the best.
Pisses me off.
Yep.
So we have comments, of course. Every week we ask Twitter and Instagram to share your thoughts on the movie that we are covering. We didn't get any on Instagram, so everything was on Twitter. We also had somebody who shared our post and got even more comments. I don't know if we're going to go through all of those comments.
That's dope as fuck.
But we'll go through a few of them. But we'll go through the initial comments on the post. And our first one is from our good friend Michael Howe, who says, I've never seen anyone hold the same facial expression in a film as long as this actress. And it's just the actress who plays Danny. It's just the same, like,
Rip.
Sad.
Yeah.
Sad
She,
face.
no offense, she does have that, like, just naturally mopey face. I'm not trying to shit on her as an actress, but she really does.
Our next comment is from our friends at So Wizard podcast. It said, more like Alien covered in shit, am I right?
Not going to disagree with
The
that.
flute playing scene was absolutely hilarious, but otherwise, this is trash.
Yes, she does. She looks like a whiny chimp.
What the fuck? Our next comment is from @disco_robato, who says, this is peak. All right.
I mean, if you really likes it, awesome. Like, great. I'm glad you did.
Yes. I'm sorry. So Wizard Podcast has the best.
I know. So Wizards always got the good ones. Our next one is from @Fiore Love Is Life, our good friend Fiore Neko, who said, did not need Magneto make out with himself and to retconned about the mystery of the Xenomorph sets a middle finger to the face. I agree. I very much agree.
Yes.
And our last one from the initial post is from our good friends at the Podcast in the Woods, who said, never saw it. I probably stopped trying after Prometheus. You know what? Give it a watch. I always tell people at least give it a watch, and then just one.
What do you need?
So yeah, we had someone share the post at EPM106 who got 20 comments.
Damn.
So we'll read a couple, and a lot of them it's positive. A lot of the people who commented on it, it's like I'm not gonna name everybody, but it's like possibly my second favorite. It says, wasn't one I liked much, but it wasn't awful like Prometheus was awful. A lot of people bashing Prometheus in these comments. Still, I like some IP runs its course, and if you keep milking it over and over, you risk ruining the good stuff in the process of trying to find that elusive big new thing. And yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of just praise for this movie. So hey, like I said, it's one of those movies where you're gonna, I mean, just like any movie, you're gonna have the people who love the movie and you're gonna have people who don't like the movie. And to be honest, for me, I'm like right in the middle. Like I don't like this movie, but I don't hate this movie. I don't think it's horrendous, but there's just a lot of just problems that just make you upset, especially when it's something that has been, especially when this franchise has been around as long as it has.
I'm sorry, one of the comments I just saw is like, nope, done.
No, read it.
It's JoJo. Go ahead. It's on you.
Aren't these literally the only two Alien properties people consider to be any good?
Oh, yeah, and it was
Alien and Alien Isolation.
Well, admittedly, I've heard really good things.
Like,
Aliens is really good.
Yeah.
Alien 3 was pretty good, too. It's the original.
Yeah, the original, yes.
One person did say better than Aliens. I was like, what?
Wow.
Okay. I mean, listen, I respect anyone's opinion. I have opinions that people do not like, but hey, you know what? The world still goes around and we still enjoy our movies or don't enjoy movies. But hey,
some of us have watched these in succession.
I think if they did a third one of this, it would have just been Michael Fassbender having sex with himself.
I mean, he literally made out with himself.
Yeah, he did, and then tried to, yeah.
Like, what do you think he did to Shaw if he made out with himself?
I don't know.
Like, did he con her into
making
out with him?
Maybe.
All right.
Maybe that's his whole sexual fetish thing.
Like,
I got a prediction though. Before we get out of here, what's going to happen in the next movie? Like the new Alien movie. Like I know.
All right.
Here's my prediction for the new Alien movie.
Hit me.
Everybody's gonna be a gay robot.
Okay. There we are.
Carry on.
There we are. So our final thing we're going to do before we end this episode will be rankings. Since this is the last movie of the franchise for now, we are going to go through our rankings because we forgot to rank last week for Prometheus. So we're just going to rank Prometheus first and then we'll do Covenant. Currently, our rankings are at number 1 through 4 is literally Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, and Alien Resurrection. So that's but the only difference is it doesn't go in order because Dan and Angela voted for AVP Requiem being better than AVP. So of course Requiem has to be above AVP. So let's start off with Prometheus. Where would you guys put Prometheus in that list?
No.
Start off.
No.
So of course, how this ranking works is there's 3 of us, meaning if 2 of us vote for one thing, that wins. That's why AVP Requiem is above AVP. So let's
go. But you have to be able to see.
I know.
But these movies, hold on, Prometheus and Covenant, you can see. So
yes,
we can cross that off the list.
So at first we're gonna start off with Prometheus. We'll put it in a spot, and then we're gonna have to adjust according to.
Can I put Prometheus above Requiem?
Well, yeah.
You do whatever you want.
That's where I want it. That's where I want that one to be.
Here's my biggest thing is I want to put. This is where I want to put Prometheus. Like it's. I don't know if it goes Alien, Aliens, and the third one, or Prometheus.
Okay.
Because I really like Prometheus a lot, and I think Alien 3 is a better movie than people give it credit for. But I think Prometheus is better than Alien Resurrection.
I agree.
So I'm fine with it. Like if you go like 3 Prometheus, I'm cool with 2. So.
Well, where do you want to put it, Dan?
I would put. I don't know. That was like my whole conundrum when I watched it.
All right. Well,
again.
Angela, where would you put Prometheus?
Put it in the shitter.
I'd definitely put it above this shit.
I
don't know.
Chug. Okay, I'm sorry. Never
I ain't chugging anything right now.
No, he's going. I was like, just dude, we're almost done.
I gotta go pee again, but I am.
We're almost there. We're on the final stretch here.
Yeah.
See, it's so difficult when you've watched them all, but it's been so long since.
Listen, you sacrificed thousands of people to save me. You can throw these other movies under the bus. You pick.
Well, shit. If I'm sacrificing everybody before you, I'm putting you at number 1.
No, not me. I mean, just like you could throw some other movies under the bus.
What is happening right now?
I have no idea. I'm just trying to help or make it worse. It's one of the two.
You always make things worse.
Dan, stop playing with the damn can.
I'm sorry.
People are like, why the fuck are these episodes so long? This is why, everybody.
I am blushing because I am so physically hot from not those movies and not you.
Keep going. I'm not saying nothing. I'm giving you your moment.
I don't know. Because I have my qualms with all the movies. So I would probably put Prometheus under 3.
Okay.
What about you, Parker?
That's what you said, right, Dan?
I put it either above or under. I'd take either.
To be honest, I would rather watch Prometheus than Alien 3. But watching Alien 3, especially the assembly cut, I do appreciate it a lot more, and so I'll agree. I think Prometheus can go below Alien 3.
I'll take it. Yes. I thought the movie was going to be like shit toward the bottom, but I'll take it.
All right, so now let's talk Covenant. Where are we putting Covenant?
It's like.
Is this like the worst for you?
It's way down here.
Is it like do you think this is worse than AVP?
Oh hell yeah.
Oh wow.
That's just my opinion.
Well, of course, that's the whole point. That's the whole point of this.
I mean, I would be okay with losing this battle.
All right. So Angela has it at the bottom of the barrel, Dan. Where do you have it?
I have qualms with all of these. I'm not gonna hold
it ain't bad. Listen, I'll tell you, I'd watch Requiem before I'd watch this motherfucker.
Wow. So I'm guessing is it better than AVP?
I'm gonna hold it against you. I just have my
thematically, yes, because I don't think AVP feels like a horror movie for any genre. This at least feels like it fits the genre. It's supposed
so you think that this is better than AVP?
Yes,
is what you're saying. Okay.
Yes.
Here's the thing, though. How do we do this if we all have different spots? Because to be honest, I would rather watch this. I would rather watch this over either AVPs. I think after the recent watches of both AVP movies, I think they're both bad movies. I don't think they're terrible movies. I don't think they're like I mean, I've seen AVP a lot in my time, and I think I enjoyed it just because of the fact that it is what it is. But recently watching it, I'm like, man, these movies are just not good. They're just not good movies, and they're not fun anymore.
I can agree.
It is a better quality movie than either of the AVP films.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So if you want to put it above AVP, any of those, I'm fine with it. I'm just saying.
I would say the original quadrilogy of Alien films are a lot more cohesive and a lot more fun to watch than Covenant. Covenant is just kind of a bloated mess.
Yeah, let's put it under all the Prometheus and all the original Alien films.
Okay, so
above the AVPs, but below the rest of the franchise.
Okay, so our final Alien rankings, including the Alien versus Predator films, because you guys wanted us to cover them, so they were included. Even if you say they're not part of this franchise, too bad. We did it.
That was voted on.
At number 1. Well, actually, you know what? We'll start from the bottom. I got to count how many movies there were. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So at number 8 is Alien versus Predator from 2004. Number 7 is Alien versus Predator Requiem. And number 6 is Alien Covenant. And number 5 is Alien Resurrection. And number 4 is Prometheus. And number 3 is Alien 3 Assembly Cut. I recommend an assembly cut. I'm going to state that as the primary. If you really want to enjoy Alien 3 assembly cut is I feel is the way to watch it. At number 2 is Aliens, which again, I would recommend watching the director's cut. Both versions are good. The director's cut adds a little bit more. It's James Cameron, so you're not going to be disappointed. And at number 1, which I know will be controversial because a lot of people would say that Aliens is so very much superior than Alien, but we all agreed that Alien is the best movie in this franchise. So that is our rankings. And you know what? I'm going to try to make a graphic for this rankings, and I'm going to post it on Twitter after we release this episode. As we've stated for over many weeks, we've been recording a lot of episodes ahead of time. So we're recording one day, but this might not be released for 3 weeks. But we're going to release a ranking thing, and then you guys can comment and yell at us about how we were completely wrong and idiots, which is fine. I don't care.
Yes.
Just kidding.
The last thing, though, I do want to recommend, if you guys are looking for, I know that Alien, the first one, the 1979 Alien, was released on a really nice 4K Blu-ray. But if you really want to get your bang for your buck, this Alien 6 film collection, which has Alien 1 through 4, Prometheus, and Covenant, and all the alternate versions of a lot of the movies. This was $20 on Amazon. This is as soon as we talked about how we were going to cover this franchise. I immediately bought this. So this is, I think a good way to, if you want to own those movies.
Yeah, there you go.
But that's it, guys. That is the Alien franchise. I can't believe it's over. We're in March. We started this bitch in the beginning of January. So it's been a journey.
Damn.
I mean, we've sprinkled some movies here and there throughout, but yeah, it's all done. Meaning next week is episode 100. Actually, in 2 days, because we are doing something a little bit different. We are going to be live streaming our 100th episode, which me, Dan and Angela, and possibly a fourth guest, will be watching the very first episode of the show and doing a commentary on it. So we're going to let you guys come and join us, chat with us as we watch the very first episode, which we weren't even Dissect That Film at the time. Dan and Angela weren't even the co-hosts of the show at the time.
Tell us how bad we did.
We were just there.
And I asked them to be guests, and it was our very first episode where we talked about Godzilla 2014. We're going to go back, we're going to rewatch that episode, and we're going to nitpick at it. We're going to laugh at ourselves. We're going to, we might add some information we might have forgot about during the episode. And it's going to be a great time. So Sunday, April 2nd, which is 2 days from when you're listening, because this will be released on the 31st of March. So 2 days from now, 8:30 p.m. Eastern on our YouTube page, youtube.com/Dissect That Film. We're going to be doing this live. And then, of course, we'll release the audio version of the episode that Friday on our normal release time. So if you want to watch it live, come on in and hang out with us. If you don't, it'll be released that following Friday. But that's what we're doing for episode 100. So thank you so much for everybody for continuing your support. And, you know, we're still here, 100 episodes in. It's pretty wild. It's like the longest project I've ever done in my entire life. So thank you very much for everything that you guys do. And yeah, before I go into too much of a rigmarole here, you can follow us at Dissect That Film on all the social medias. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I almost said iTunes. Yeah. And we're on TikTok. I'm posting TikToks, people. So make sure to go over to our Dissect That Film TikTok and follow that page, because people I don't know what I have to do to get people to go over there, but go over there, follow us. I post clips from the show. I post other things over there. So make sure to check that out. And you can follow Dan and Angela. All their links are going to be down in the description. Make sure to go to, if you want to check them out, well, Dan doesn't anymore. He kind of backed out. But Angela still streams over on Twitch, so make sure to click the link down below. Watch her stream. It's a lot of fun when I actually show up.
On Friday, you can hear me yelling in the background usually.
Yeah, it's always a good time. It's always a good time. So yeah, before we make this episode almost 2.5 hours, we're gonna go. And thank you all for enjoying this alien ride. And remember, don't trust the android.
Yeah.
Never.
If it doesn't have a pulse, don't trust it.
Exactly. Oh, until next time, I am Brett Parker. That is Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming. We are Dissect That Film, and this has been the Dissect That Film podcast, episode 99. We'll see y'all again next time. Bye-bye.